Okay. Nope. Nope. No ads. Shut up, YouTube. Oh no, what happened? There we go.
Oh.
I accidentally blinked away the background.
Oh, so much for that.
Hello, everybody.
And we're here.
Yeah.
Alive. So yes, welcome to this week's episode of Referendum Talk.
I am all alone in the house right now.
Good. Episode 67. Just one more away. Oh, two. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not counting this one.
Yeah.
So yes, welcome everyone, welcome. It's a bit of a Halloween one. Before we begin, I need to show you this real quick.
Okay.
Just for the sake of, the fuck is this?
Is it more... Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I find that so funny. Magic pain glove.
Wow. Wow.
It's a whole thing with Rogel, but that series just makes it funnier. It's like, what is? He asks the glove what he must do, puts it on, then it's like the glove has spoken. I'm sorry, it cracks me up. The sheer why would you do this factor of it.
You're still mangling your other mic.
Oh, there's nothing I can do. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna swap out for another set of headphones.
Alright.
So just give me a second.
Yep, take your time. Hope everybody's been having a good week so far. Halloween is coming up. I haven't really been able to play any games on stream for a while. Just not been feeling very good lately. But it's getting a little bit better. Alright then. Oh boy. Yeah, not very much to do this week. Or to talk about.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, now I'm working.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening. So, new headphones, giant ear covering ones.
Okay.
They sound like absolute garbage. Yes, but so yeah, it is the month of the spooks. Yeah.
Ooh.
We've been in the month of the swoop for a while, but now it's official. Because we are unoriginal as fuck.
I might as well just open Gmod in the background, make a new set for us. With the sound off, of course.
Yes, but so yeah, we've got that going on. Again, it's been another slow month. Ugh. Yes, we do this every month now. It's been another slow week for us here on Left for Random Talk. Again, not a lot of news has been going on as of late. You know, the game we were all looking forward to has been delayed to March.
Yeah. Doom Eternal, I guess.
Reason. Yes, but for good reason, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's that going on. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. No, I've just been. Oh, right. I am still working on creating the Twitter for the podcast officially, and I'm working to try and like get other people on the show.
Keyword try.
Well, you know, yes. As soon as I get the Twitter up and running, I'm gonna try and reach out to someone I talk to on a regular called James the Lesser, and I'm gonna see if I can get him on. If not, then oh well. I'll go for like GTG or anybody else really out there. Actually, here's the funny thing about James. Really, he's been covering some other things as of late, and well, you know, he's one of the guys that likes to watch and make fun of lolcows, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently one of his targets, basically, is some loser in Pittsburgh. And I mean, and I'm not saying this like, oh, he's No, I mean like pure on loser, 50-year-old beggar, basically. And
Wow.
apparently, according to James, the guy just looted his neighbor's house, and the guy's just died.
What?
Yes. So this guy, his name is George Senda. Actually, let me see if I can find a picture of the guy. Let's see here. He's basically he takes advantage of the where. I'm never going to be able to speak. You see, this is what happens. I get high off of narcotics, and then I'm unable to speak.
He's not being literal. Like, I do
Get
have to
high
remind you,
off-
we have to be careful what we say.
Yes, yes, of course. I don't actually get high on narcotics, people. It's a joke.
But apparently, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you this story. First and foremost, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink. I am fiercely against it. Like, the only time I ever allow that to happen is if it's through a character who enjoys it.
Of course.
You know, like my current barbarian Galabor loves to drink and he loves to eat. He mostly loves to eat. He's a big buff dude. He needs to eat a lot. But I learned something, that there is a rare chance that those who incidentally or purposely intake marijuana will have the most severe anxiety attack that they've ever had. So my brother and I have this disgusting habit where when he can't finish a soda, he'll give it to me, and I finish it for him. Mostly because I really just don't give a shit. Well, this time I knew something was off because the bottle stunk of weed. I opened it and sniffed inside. It reeked of weed. So he was high off his ass while he was chugging this thing.
I just picture him just saying like,
Pretty much. He likes to smoke. He likes to smoke it and then watch a movie.
Okay, nothing wrong with that, really.
Specifically, movies that are known to be acid trips already.
Of course, you have to watch it because.
So for perspective, he'll smoke some weed and then he'll watch Speed Racer.
Okay.
Because it's like a vomit of colors. But anyway, I didn't think anything of it. Because I'm used to finishing his sodas, even if he's like smoked weed. I'm used to that kind of thing. But this was different. Some of it had gotten into the soda. And I took a sip. And, that does not taste fantastic, but it's leftover soda. And then I started to feel very bad.
And then you realize it's like, oh, I'm high.
I didn't know it was the soda yet. I had taken like 3 drinks before I finally realized, oh no. My beloved Pepsi is the demon here.
Betrayed.
I have been betrayed by my one true love. So, I had a horrible panic/anxiety attack.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because, like, this is literally the first time I've ever been introduced to drugs.
Of course.
So I poured it out like a sensible person. I threw away the bottle, and I decided to check and see, is it possible to get anxiety attacks from marijuana? Yeah, very much so, yeah. So, before, Monday, I had posted a whole bunch of shit in our, well, not a whole bunch, but like just in our Discord group about D&D. And it and in my mind, when I read it back, I hear the Joker just going crazy. Just like, I was screaming at everybody, like, I have to draw all this shit from my D&D campaign, but I am not going to. If you guys complain about the lack of maps, you can bite my ass. I don't care. We're not gonna do this. I don't want that. We're just gonna use theater of the mind. Okay? Sorry if I sound snippy, but I'm just not feeling good. Oh, wait, no. I know why I'm snippy. Ha ha ha. Like, literally, that's what it was like. I even typed out, ha 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 ha. And then, like, the next day, I realized what had happened. I typed, yeah, that was not out of my, that was completely out of my control.
I got high. I got secondhand high.
Yeah, I unintentionally did, and I didn't want that.
No,
So,
it's
yeah,
fine.
don't
It's
do
fine.
drugs, people.
Yes, unless you
Seriously, don't
really
do
want
drugs,
to.
because you might be among that small amount of people who get severe anxiety or panic attacks, or the combo of both, which is never fun.
Yeah, of course. But as you can imagine, no, I do not get high. I get high off of painkillers, but that's because I need them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like my back is destroyed. There is nothing there. So I just need is like, yep, time for the 15th painkiller today. Oh, look at that! I can smell colors and hear rainbows.
Which painkiller are you using?
Like I really don't know anymore. It all just kind of
Ibuprofen is your best bet because you don't have to take so many, and it
yeah.
works really strong.
Uh, right. Anyway, point. I found an image. So the guy on the bottom right here, that's James, the
Mm-hmm.
one with the amazing beard and beanie, and the loser at your on the top of the screen, that's George.
What the fuck?
Yes.
I like his beanie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like wow, that's a lot. But no, James is a very nice guy. You know, I've talked with him on his streams. He's pretty chill, very relaxed. You know, and he cracks several jokes. He's like, "Yay, he gets my humor." Anyway, point is that Georgie boy here, this fat hoarder from hell, um, well, basically, this just happened from what I heard from James, and that is, um, George Senda's neighbor recently died, and George supposedly got a lot of money off of him or the people like his widowed family and stole some stuff from his house, like right as the corpse is just laying there. And people will be like, "Oh no, no, that's not possible. No one's that fucked up." George is. George really is.
Yeah.
And of course, James made a wonderful joke of what was it? Looting in video games and D&D. Good. Looting in real life. Bad.
Yeah.
Which made me laugh a bit, but like I said, this guy is horrible. Like he's up there. Like you know how I talk about Chris Chan and DSP a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I love making fun of these losers. Like George is how do I put it? Amongst the three, George is the one that I don't like. He's not even funny to me. He's just sad.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he lives off of disability, which I believe he's abusing the welfare system. And he begs people for money all the time, and it's like it's disgusting. I mean, Phil's DSP's greed is insane. I mentioned the $2,000 cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Phil is worse with greed. George is just he's sad, you know. Like it's not even funny when you prank this loser. I mean, I say prank him for the sake of it, but it's like, ugh, you know. But anyway, selfish plug for James the Lesser right there. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, that started my day off great. I've also tried to look into other games to talk about for the show. I tried going through the Surge, and I thought, okay, or Surge 2, because I heard it's like, oh, it's got more story than the first one.
I've never
They,
heard
they
of it.
the Surge is how do I put it? It's Dark Souls with machines.
Well, yeah, I've seen like some person stream it, but I don't know anything about the game. Like, the Surge 2 is literally the first time I'm hearing about this.
Okay, so how do I've tried to understand this myself. So um something happens where like a company creates nanobots, but the nanobots go insane and they start infecting everything. Like machines go haywire, humans get husked from the inside out and become like weird cyborg zombie things. And you're playing a man in a wheelchair. But you start off playing as a man in a wheelchair, and then he gets an exosuit, like welded onto his body.
Nice.
Well, it's horrifying because the company he works for, called Creo, and not with a K, it's with a C. So I keep in my mind I see it as Oreo for some reason. The company Oreo. What? I knew those cookies would be the end of us.
Yeah, they're not that fantastic.
No, the nanobots are just crushed up Oreo. I knew it.
Oreo is only good as like a pie crust, a cake, an ice cream. Like the cookies themselves are not that great.
I find it that when you dunk them in milk, they're good. But that's it.
They're better with like. But, I prefer Oreos as not being actual Oreos, just being used for something else.
Oreo pizza.
Apparently, there's a dessert pizza that exists. So.
I know. I'm sure someone's made an Oreo pizza out there. I know it's out there. But from what I understand, the first Surge had like it tried. It was very obvious that it was copying Dark Souls because it was like right down to like how you fought, and the story was like told through audio logs you would find, but not like satisfyingly. You know, it was very Dark Soulsy. Which again, I understand people like Dark Souls story, and that's fine. I'm still gonna say it's incredibly cheap and lazy writing. It's what's it called? Not to say I have anything against world story, like the world tells the story, but when you make the entire focus of your story just the world and maybe this is, maybe that's poor writing to me. That tells me that you weren't confident with this and you just threw it out there and hoping that people will think you're a genius. But yeah, that's basically what the Surge one was about, and nobody liked it because the game was very repetitive. Fighting enemies was very glitchy. It was a very linear experience. Like you would go from room to room with very little exploration. The mechanic of if you see an enemy armed with like a very weird looking weapon, you could target that arm, cut off the arm, and get the weapon was very wonky. Like the targeting didn't work, and sometimes you would hit one limb and another one would come off, and you would get something you didn't want.
Yeah.
And what drove people insane was in the game there are like rig repair stations, like things you go to get fixed up and upgraded. And the only way you know when it's nearby is when a song plays in the background and you would hear it. The song is short, like 2 minutes, and it plays on loop endlessly. Like absolutely, and it's country, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually showed it to Bill, and he said he enjoyed it. And then I told him, yeah, now listen to that like a full 12 hours. You will grow to hate this song. And people did. But I like it, actually. It's, what is it? I'm just going to look up the name of the song real quick. Because it's actually very, it's sad, it's sombering, but it has a good message to it, if I find it. Okay, let's see. It's called Prisoner. Literally, it's just called Prisoner.
Wow.
But the song basically talks about someone who was born in a prison, who has spent his entire life in a prison, and then someone comes in, tells him, hey, you can, speaks in a language he doesn't understand, shows him the way out, and then you realize I was always as free as I wanted to be. I just didn't want to believe it. Again, it's a very nice song. I actually like it for what it is. But that was it. Like, the bosses were very lame. The enemy variety was very generic. No, it was, how do I put it? It was a forgettable game. it had an interesting art style, but that was it. And then the Surge 2 comes out, and it's basically, let's just keep what we had for the previous game and just copy Cyberpunk, the upcoming Cyberpunk game. And this is not an exaggeration for me, by the way. It literally, everything about it just screams, we're trying to copy Cyberpunk 2076 so badly. And we're hoping nobody notices. So I gave it about a few minutes. I tried to go through the start. It is they've done this stupid thing of, let's make it an open world. That'll fix it. Yes. The entire time I was going through with it, I was like, I am not having fun here. I know exactly where this is going to be. It's going to be frustrating because I'm going to want to explore, and there's going to be 100 enemies with incredibly high health because it's still a Dark Souls ripoff. Fuck. The story is also like, it feels like they're trying to reboot the story by the second game. And I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. Yeah. We are not confident in the product whatsoever. But I am going to finish it. I'm going to go through it later and see if it really is as bad as it is. And if it is, I'm just going to say, let's not do this anymore.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yes. I know that there's like 2 other games that recently came out. There's Chernobyl Light, which feels like Stalker. The original Stalker games, but like updated and more creepy. Atomic Hearts is still being worked on and should be coming out this year or the next, so that's good. It's a game we both talked about and kind of enjoyed for what it was. And I know that recently a Journey to the West game was just released. Actually, let me find out what that one was called. Because I saw like a few minutes of it, and immediately I was like, holy shit, the quality looks terrible. All right, let's see what it was called. It's like... Let's see here. Okay, here we go. It was called Monkey King Hero is Back.
Oh, boy.
And it looks so weird. It's like cheap Pixar made into a game. And I wish that was an exaggeration. Not even the English as well feels like it's been phoned in from like another, like the English sounds like they didn't know what it was and they just got people who spoke it off the street. Ugh. And yes, I'm gonna go through it later and see, like, is this as bad as it is? Holy shit! It's burning itself alive somehow. I didn't even plug it in yet. We're doomed. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so we've gone on enough about this. This has kind of become a new tradition on the stream. Spend about like the start of this show talking about nonsense,
which is fine. It's actually completely normal.
Yeah.
Just so, as great as having order is, it's sometimes good to have like chaos.
Yes.
Except for Nurgle.
Oh, now okay, you've seen him.
I'm just aware of what he's like.
Oh, God, it's so disgusting. It's like, I see it immediately, I can feel my nose melting off. Like, just, oh, where's the air freshener? Just immediately looking for it at every possible corner, and there's none.
But like, is Slaanesh a better option then?
That depends on how much of a perverted freak you are. It's like, now, like, you know how Slaanesh was made, right?
Vaguely.
It's like, how do I put, the best way to describe it?
How PG can you put this?
No, I can't. Like, behold, my most PG way of saying it. A bunch of elves fucked and then it came out.
Yep.
Literally, it's just... I see this and see it, and my immediate thought is, okay, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to know what you're smoking right now. And then the other two are just freaks of nature as well. And by that I mean, like, you've got a, what was it? I know that the guy that makes If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device described all the chaos. You know what? No. I'm gonna look up that video real quick just to read off how he described all.
Like last time we had a show, we took like an hour just to talk about Warhammer.
It was 30 minutes. It was 30 minutes. First thing I type, if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, it's the first one there. Woo. Let's see. And I'll just put in gods. What happens if I do? Oh no! Oh no, it's on fire again. I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. So basically, the video is just one of the a member of the Adeptus Ministorum explaining that the Emperor is no god; he is a man. And they're like, blasphemy. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So he describes all the gods in the Warhammer universe as follows: Nurgle, a supernatural garbage bag; Khorne, a paraplegic sociopath; Tzeentch, an indecisive mollusk; Slaanesh, never went to rehab. Sorry.
It's so weird to hear you talk about Tzeentch because he's also in our chat. Like not in our chat, but like he's in our Discord.
Okay, let me redefine that. Tzeentch, the mollusk, an indecisive mollusk. There. Moving on. The Gork and Mork, literal mushrooms. Kane, and I have to say this, Big Daddy Calgar's personal pleasure object.
Oh my god.
C. Gorak, a fucking clown.
Ugh.
Yes, yes. A supernatural garbage can. Let that sink in. The Nightbringer has no friends, and the Deceiver, who is just straight up an idiot. And nobody cares about Malga because fuck him.
So, that Warhammer one shot I've been listening to, they actually continued it. By the way, I watched it live last night.
All right.
Some like one of the people, one of the players, decided they wanted to do something a little extra for their joke. So like in a really nerdy voice, they go, "Is Malal in this?" And then you hear a gunshot, and then their computer crashed. And it's become a joke now that he shot his own computer.
No, nobody cares about Malal.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to say, but what about Malal? No one cares about him. Shut up. Oh.
I think a spider just fell down the back of my pants. Oh, hi, hi, get off. There, got him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill a spider just because he wants some panties, dude.
Jesus. No, I was just talking about, it's like, the point is, the gods in Warhammer 40k, fucking weird. That's the best way to describe them. And for good reason.
Still, the Empire is all being commanded by a corpse.
Imperium. It's not Empire. Stop it. It's like, it's not Empire. Stop it.
They're being commanded by a fucking corpse.
Yeah, the most powerful corpse in the fucking galaxy, I'll have you know. In fact, he's so powerful, the Chaos Gods want him to join. Because technically speaking, he's like almost on par with them. Because everyone keeps worshipping the corpse.
Ugh.
Do not underestimate the power of worship. It's a literal force.
Oh, I know. I know. The orcs are a great example.
The orcs pray to mushrooms. Gork and Mork are literal mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Mushroom. Just gonna keep shouting that.
So, last night, the guy who's streaming is playing as a weird boy.
Okay. So, big brain.
Yeah, he has like a lump on the side of his head that he Sharpies faces on.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, he is a weird boy. And he used one of his powers, which calls upon one of their gods to come down and punch their enemy or kill their enemy. So he used his power, and the way he words it is he points at the mutants and go, "These guys are picking on me," and his god comes down and punches them. But it's not like an impact, like a giant fist causes like a nuclear boom. It's like a wet slap, and that's it.
Okay, let me see.
And he uses it again, but then he realizes he's not actually supposed to be able to use it again straight away. So the narrative is the giant fist starts to come down. It pauses because these are mutants. It goes, "Oh wait, no, those guys are icky," and pulls back up.
I'm trying to remember between the two because it's fucking stupid how they're described. If I remember, yeah, it's like weird. It's like, what was it? Gork is the god of brutal, like something brutal cunning, and Mork is the god of cunning brutality. Like, it's that stupid. And that's why people are like, which one is which? It's like, does it matter?
It really doesn't matter. They're both the exact fucking same.
Yeah, it's just one is something different. I don't know. It's just... This is why I don't play orcs. It's like, which god do I pray to for strength? Both. What?
Which one do I pray to for help? Yes.
Exactly, just yes. No, there is one thing I actually do like, and that is, at least in like terms of what the orcs do, in terms of worship, it's like they build their titans as idols. No, what was it? It was specifically in Hell's Reach. It was one of the Black Templars says when they look upon a titan, he says, "I heard it said that the orcs make their titans as idols to their piggish gods." And another one just says, "Oh, that explains why they're so ugly." Which makes sense. It's like, yeah, that makes about as much sense as we're gonna get out here. Why not?
Anywho, that's been an hour and a half of nonsense, and a tiny part of it has been Warhammer again.
Yes, because we keep fucking doing that.
We've only done this twice!
I'm speaking for the future. Yes, what you don't know is that I routinely time travel between sentences, and you don't notice it. That is why I routinely win the lottery.
Anyway, let's get started.
Yeah. Right, so we've got about 5 topics this time. Again, slow week is slow. I can't exactly do much. So we've got the following. Blizzard continues to crumble as more rise against them. They cancel Overwatch event in fear of mass protests and issue poor apology no one accepts. No shock. Doom Eternal new stuff. Pre-order now includes Doom 64 along with other goodies. Again, a short little thing. Destiny 2 impressions. Bad first impressions likely not to return. I'll get more into that later, trust me. Is it a good idea to let web cartoonists have their own TV shows? A general discussion. And how horror games have changed since the early days. Has it been for the better or for the worse? Again, general discussion piece. So let's get into the Blizzard news first.
There's been some changes.
Yes.
Yeah. they at least succeeded, like the fans have succeeded in letting China see that the Overwatch characters are joining the protest. So it's very likely that China is going to ban all of Overwatch.
Yes.
Which is great. Go May.
Oh, great for us, bad for Blizzard.
Yeah.
That's
But
basically the
you do have
tagline
to
at this
we
point.
do have to keep in mind that Blizzard is a company. It's not a person. It's made up of a bunch of people who it has to run on money in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're an American company based in America. And that's where people have an
America.
issue with. No, but that's the thing that is happening. And it goes like this. Basically, the reason why people are so pissed off is the following. Blizzard, 2 tweets came out from 2 different media sources. One was from Blizzard that makes up some reason why they're like, oh, we've done this to Blizzchung because he violates our rules, but we're not malicious or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like they tried to make it sound like it wasn't motivated by political force. The Chinese Twitter account, which is like the official government bullshit, censorship bullshit, whatever it's called, basically said, we're extremely disappointed with so-and-so and feel like it's so egregious and blah, 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 blah. Like they demonized the guy. And this forces, and it pretty much exposed that the whole thing was, the whole heavy repercussions against Blizzchung was motivated by government influence. It wasn't motivated by Blizzard's own decisions.
Mm.
And so people, at first, a lot of people believe like, oh, it's not that bad, or it's not going to be an issue. And then it got worse because it turns out that Blizzard has actually attacked the what's the word? Has actually attacked the college that supported the Hong Kong protests, and basically they banned them because they violated our rules.
Yeah.
There is nowhere in the rules that says they can't do this. The rules are so nebulous, it's impossible for people to follow them. They're the type of rules that change based on who's in charge. Not, did you follow the rules correctly? Okay, then nothing bad happens to you. Again, it's just like that bullshit with cancel culture. Oh, you said something 5 years ago? Well, now you're a bad rest of your life.
Yeah. But if people want to really kick China in the dick, and I somewhat regret saying that because like they have a beautiful culture of old. Use Hello Kitty. Like no. Here's the thing. Hello Kitty is so ingrained in Chinese culture today. It's the one thing they do not bootleg. It is their most precious and favorite thing. And if you force them to ban Hello Kitty, it's going to destroy them morally. Like, I've noticed, like, and this is the thing, a lot of people have started to use Disney characters for the protests. No, use Hello Kitty. It's much more of an impact.
There's a reason why it's specifically Winnie the Pooh. And there's a reason why for that. It's because the current Chinese dictator, I believe his name is Pooh. Like, it's no, like Winnie or something like that. But so it's kind of the joke at his expense is that he's Winnie the Pooh. Or like someone's described him as he looks like Winnie the Pooh, and therefore Winnie the Pooh has always been like kind of banned in China because the dictator got butthurt over.
Wow.
That's why people are still. That's why like places like South Park and everything are using Winnie the Pooh to direct attack against the guy, and I love it. Jesus, but this is the thing: they're actively fighting against Blizzard, and Blizzard has been doing absolutely nothing to try and remedy the situation. Because again, this is what's been happening as of late, and this is something I've been furious about for years now, and that is companies look overseas for large profit demographics because typically overseas has larger populations than the US. So naturally, what companies see people from the US as this. They are the foundation that we can base it on, but the true customers will be those of overseas, and we will be rolling in the money.
Ugh.
That's how they see it. Well, guess what? The foundations just decided, you know what? Fuck Blizzard, and now it's all kind of falling apart, and it's a
Yep.
glorious thing. To the point where the point of this little thing is, Blizzard has actually decided to cancel an event, an Overwatch event.
Hmm.
And here's the reason for it. It's because a group out there who supports freedom of speech for everyone, not just not just American freedom of speech, have actually organized for a massive protest to occur in New York. Like, I want to say half of the tickets sold for the event was from this one group, and people were like making reservations with the tickets just to protest Blizzard.
Oh
And
boy.
this is the thing, it worked because Blizzard panicked and canceled the event mere 3 days ago.
Hey, I'm just happy Junkenstein is going on again. Like, I am not gonna buy anything from Blizzard. I'm not gonna support this bullshit. But I'm
Let's
still going to enjoy the
okay.
game.
Now let's be clear for the audience. This is her decision.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is not I guess quote unquote distance the show or anything. Basically,
Yeah. Like, this
I'm
show is not political.
no
We are not political, but we do support those that we see needs the
being
support or that
yeah.
are in the right.
We like to fight for justice, basically.
Justice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't like what's going on my Tumblr. Like, there's all these posts about like free Hong Kong, free Hong Kong. I love the artwork that people are doing, but you're not gonna see me reblog it because I just don't want that on my blog. I am
I'm the
I
complete
am
opposite.
I am still going to play Overwatch, but I'm not going to spend money. I never spend money on video games anyway, except if it's for like my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to buy Blizzard games, especially not until all of this has gone in the wind in some way, shape, or form.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Before you can continue this, people are only angry because they want justice done. They don't want Blizzard to not make money. That's not the crux of the argument. What they want is that Blizzard take care of all their fans, not just bend the knee to one nation because money is strong. This is what the people want. They want Blizzard to start taking care of their people, their fans here in North America, not treat them like garbage. They want Blizzchung to be, you know, not just be banned from Hearthstone, but to not be punished because he shows pride in what he believes in.
Yeah.
And to have the college that was banned for supporting Blizzchung and the Hong Kong protests to be unbanned and let their expression, their freedom of expression, not be trampled over. That's all they want. But the thing is, Blizzard will never do that because that to Blizzard, that is admitting that they've made wrong, and Blizzard never wants to admit they've made wrong.
Yeah.
No company wants to. And this is why I'm saying I, for one, again, HH doesn't really speak for the show. If what she wants to do, she wants to do. And what that's her. And that won't affect our show or anything like that. Me personally, I've just completely stopped everything with Blizzard. Flat out. I've not going to. I've gotten rid of the World of Warcraft account. I've gotten rid of everything. Because frankly, I'm not going to stick around for this. It's the principle of the matter, mind you. That's what's inspiring this. And pretty much telling the company, hey, you can't buy me, so fuck off. Until this is all done, I'm not coming back. Plain and simple.
Just so people understand, because I've seen this be screeched at people who don't support either side. Just because I'm still going to play Overwatch, I'm still going to enjoy a game that's actually really good, It doesn't mean that I support the bad guys. Like, or the fact
Yes.
that I don't want to reblog this stuff on my blog does not mean that I support the bad guys.
Yes. But like I said, this still remains to what it is. And like I said, and people and everyone out there are just basically saying to Blizzard, you know what, fuck you, we're not going back. And this isn't like, oh, the gamers are angry or they're salty. No, I'm seeing people who are leaving their accounts that have started from like 10, 15 years ago, basically,
Mm-hmm.
leaving.
That is
Like this
dedication
is
right there.
exactly, and it's not just that, it's the Blizzard, it's the Overwatch community. May has become a symbol of Hong Kong pride, and I'm incredibly happy for that because not only does this for two reasons. One, it kind of matches the character when you think about it. You know, this whole she's a globalist
Mm-hmm.
who wants the world to get better, so it makes sense that she would fight injustice even here. And two, this is a character that Blizzard created, and they're like, oh, the fans can do whatever. And if they try to do anything to her, you know there's going to be more ammunition
Like,
to make May even bigger.
it's an even bigger kick in the nuts because I'm reading her bio. She's from China proper.
Ha!
And uh, Xi'an, yeah, Xi'an, China. I don't think I said that right. I never
Wait,
say
wait, wait.
Chinese words right.
Spell it.
Ek,
Spell.
uh, I'll copy paste it to you.
Okay. Xian.
Yeah. She is from China proper, and she's being used as a symbol for Hong Kong, which I find amazing.
It's comical.
Because, like, this is like the most political thing. I've said it once before, but this is the most political thing
Mhm.
I'll ever say. Sometimes, I have to word this correctly, and it's really hard to do. I'm trying to get my words correct. Uh, the reason why the people of like the United States, like China, stuff like that, are so powerful is that if like even if their government is doing something wrong, it's the people that will rise up. It's the people that will
Yes.
decide. Like China, unfortunately, is like a communist country or a dictatorship of a country.
No, it's communism.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that like the people will just sit there and let what's happening happen. You're going to
Yes.
find you will find like some people from China proper will want to support Hong Kong over their own government. It might put them in a
Yes.
huge amount of trouble, but it'll be worth it in their
Exactly.
mind.
But this is. But no, no, no. That's good because here's the thing, and I've said this 100 times. A government is designed to help its people, not rule it. At least in my point of view. So when government decides, okay, now we're just going to strip everyone's freedom, you'd be surprised how quickly the people are just going to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that everyone's always underestimates. And here's the funny thing, right? If Blizzard had left Blizzchung alone, right? If
Yeah.
they hadn't banned him for a year and taken his prize money he won, by the way, he won it. It wasn't given. None of this would have happened. There would have not been any blowback, but they martyred the guy. And this is the one thing you do not want to do, especially if you want to keep the status quo. Once you martyr someone, there's no stopping the momentum. And how you respond to this matters greatly. And Blizzard's not been doing that. Blizzard has just been like, oh, sorry, Activision Blizzard. I keep forgetting I have to use that basically.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the mistake they've been making from day one, and that is they think that if they assume that they can replace the fans. And this has always been something they thought they can do. But it turns out that's not the case. Activision Blizzard's learning this way, and this boycott is only getting more and more momentum. And the big thing now is what will happen in the next following days and weeks or whatever. Especially if, excuse me. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze.
So by
Again,
like a lot of people have actually started realizing that like Blizzard has made a mistake. They've done something wrong, but they're not the ones proper in control. It's
Right.
Activision, apparently.
It's I'm looking for the guy specific, the CEO behind it, because I know he's been sending orders about just ignore people. Let's see if I can find his name. No, I'm not looking for the Chinese semen meme. Yeah, that's going around too, by the way, which I find incredibly funny. Ah, here we go. Bobby Kotick. That's his name. And I think this thing right here sums him up beautifully. Yes. For anyone curious, it's that one Blizzard card, or Hearthstone card. You'll know it when you find it. Just look up Bobby Kotick Blizzard card. But no, like I said, I am in support of these protests in the street, and for a good reason. And that is because, as far as I know, these people have not been doing the Antifa thing, where they're just smashing up shit and attacking people and yada yada yada. They've been just standing there trying to, peacefully protest, like with signs and everything. And the Chinese government has actually been just killing people left and right.
Yeah, which sucks.
And that's why I'm like, these people are in the right. Because like I said, it takes a strong person to fight for their ideals. But it takes a stronger person to stand there for their ideals. And like I said, Blizzard has really stepped in it now. And I'm wondering where this... Because I also know for a fact that right now with like World of Warcraft, player numbers are dropping like crazy as well.
Yeah.
No, here's the funny thing, right? I saw this recent, a big cinematic for World of Warcraft. And the big thing right now is the Battle of Azeroth stuff, right? Where the Horde is now being led by Elf Bitch.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't
vaguely
care.
understand that.
No, I mean, I was going to say, yes, people, I don't care about the elves. You can send all your hate to me. I don't care. But anyway, the point is that, what is it? So basically, the Horde's being led by a tyrant again. A minor coalition of like the Alliance and the Horde are working together to try and get rid of her. And the big cinematic is that it was going to be a massive battle again, where basically this coalition might have been able to been victorious, but a lot of lives would have been lost from both sides. So the leader of this group, Saurfang, decides, I'm going to challenge her to one-on-one combat. And he knows he can't beat her. He's too old and she's young and spry, basically. So they fight. And during the whole thing, he pushes her buttons. He gets under her skin. He kind of points out her failures, even as he's dying. And she finally snaps and shows who she really is. Where she basically just screams, you're all nothing. Or sorry, the Horde's nothing to me. Right in front of her own people. And they're all realizing like, oh shit, she doesn't care. So she kills him, with magic, which isn't supposed to happen. Starfriend dies a martyr, and she runs away in shame because her own army no longer wishes to follow her. And they basically allow, they submit to this coalition's power, basically. A new alliance is forged. This is Blizzard to a T. This is what's happening right now, and it's comical. Like, someone superimpose Blizzard's logo on Sylvana. Put Blizzchung's face on Saurfang, and it's basically what Blizzard did. And that's it to a T. It's comical. Like, I was watching this, and this entire time I'm thinking, someone shit out of this, and they're gonna send it to Blizzard. And it's, oh man, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, and the thing I absolutely adored about that entire scene was where, her whole goal is, I'm going to break everyone's hope. And in each time she's tried this, it's failed spectacularly. Instead of destroying the people, their morale, she's just made them stronger every single time. And this is exactly what's happening with Blizzard. Or sorry, Activision Blizzard. And it is comical at this point. Like I said, I'm waiting till someone memes shit out of this. Or out of that cinematic.
I hope so too.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Let's see. But that's the thing. The entire cinematic was actually incredibly beautiful. Like, bring a tear to your eye kind of thing. Again, it makes me sad that this is being, this is a game from a company I used to respect, and now this is happening. Oh, but the message is strong. The message is strong.
Oh boy.
Yes, thank you, editor. Again. All right. But that's about it. So, like I said, Blizzard is just fucking itself up right now. To the point where it's just too funny to see. Again, this is what is it, the fifth or so company that has decided to basically say, fuck the fans, we're doing our own thing, and just
Yeah, I think
is
so.
suffering as a result. You have Disney, you've got Lucasfilm Disney, you got Konami.
Kind of Bethesda.
Bethesda, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's the fourth or fifth at this point. And it's just getting comical at this point, like absolutely comical. It's like, that old screaming, "When will you learn?" No, never seen that one.
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever seen that meme of the kid screaming, "When will you learn?"
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's basically the kid is screaming about Sonic, and then he just screams, "When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?" That's why I want to just start imposing on all these dumb companies that were built up on fan trust. When will you learn? When will you learn that doing this is only biting you in the ass? It's weird. It's as if they want money, but they're allergic to the source, and so they just want to. It's like suicide in the weirdest way. It's like, how do I put it? It's like you're so horrified by guns that you stab yourself with a knife. That's the best way I can describe. I'm trying to describe this in a funny way. I just can't. Oh well. But yeah, so like we said, we support, the right for everyone to express themselves. I personally support the Hong Kong, protesters. HH, I can't speak for her.
Yeah.
She supports what she supports. And that's not to be a
I
dick.
support
I mean, I'm
Hong
trying
Kong.
to be.
I'm doing it silently. I can't.
Well,
I
there
have
you
nothing
go.
to do.
Yes. This is the weird dynamic. I don't give a shit, so I'll just flat out say, yes, I support this. Bring it.
I do support Hong Kong. Like, I really do.
No. It's fine. It's fine. I'm saying it's like there's a dynamic, One is loud and obnoxious about it. The other one is just kind of sitting there like, yeah, I'm doing it from, the smart way. Just let him kill himself out there in the field. I'm just going to write up an
Because
angry
I
letter.
have faith. I have faith.
It's fine. It's fine.
I am not religious. I hate religion, but I have faith.
Mm-hmm. Have faith in Emperor.
I have faith that
Have
spider
faith.
just crawled down my pants again.
It's a drow. It's
Like,
those spider drow.
like it's either the spider that continuously tries to crawl across my hand while I'm on my mouse, or it's the
Mm,
one that keeps trying to crawl onto my screen.
one or the other, I'm sure.
I'm just gonna ignore
Uh,
it.
I'm just gonna ignore it. Ah, it's itching. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, moving right along to Doom Eternal,
Woohoo.
or what's recently come out. So, uh, it was just a recent trailer that came out. Very, I think 1 minute at most. I think. Yeah, it was a minute, and basically um, it was just a few things that are coming with the pre-order. So I'm just looking it up quick to sorry to see what's new so far. No, I don't need a compilation. Stop that. Stop it. No, it's betrayed me. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god, where is it? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So yeah, it was just a minute long, basically, or a minute and 13 seconds. But it was just for the pre-order. So the following people we get is the Rip and Tear pack, which has the following, and that is the throwback shotgun skin, the digital game download for Doom 64, the Doot Revenant. Yes, I love the fact they embraced the meme of Doot, and bonus campaign master level, which I don't think sorry, I don't think they're siphoning off a level from the campaign. I just think it's just to prove your skills better, that kind of thing. So that's the main four things, but there's actually a bit more to it, which comes with the deluxe edition, which is the game, obviously, a year one pass for campaign DLC 1 and 2, which I'm excited for because that tells me yes, there's gonna be DLC story for the game. There's gonna be more. Yee. So happy. Yee. But yeah, so there's that. And a Doomslayer skin, Demonic Slayer. And I'm looking at it, and immediately I'm like, holy shit. And this isn't like him becoming a demon. No, this is what would happen if the Doomslayer was became Ghost Rider. And it's glorious. Just a literal fire all over the place with a red visor. And the last thing it comes with is just a classic weapon sounds, but I don't agree with that. Specifically because hold on. Okay, that was weird. I don't agree with that because, someone else can easily mod the game to have the classic sounds to it. I don't agree with it being part of like DLC or, siphoned off as extra content. I really don't agree with that. Well, again, it's like they're trying to monetize that people can do, but at the same time, it's kind of like, no, I don't need you to do that. You can please stop. Again, people can easily do that with just by self-modding games out there, the classic sounds if they so wanted.
Uh, Going back to the
Yeah.
Warhammer dudes I was listening to last night.
Mhm.
One of them said that
Okay.
they were streaming Doom. I believe it was like the 2016 one, and they had modded it to be a bit more of like a randomized dungeon grind instead of the default. So you never know what weapon you're going to get or what item you're going to get. I don't know the extent of this randomizer, like if it'll change like the environment you go to. I highly doubt it.
All right.
But it
Well,
sounded
it
pretty damn
sounds.
cool.
No, what it sounds like is that it's just randomizing um, the weapons you can get. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, randomizing like the loot tables and all that shit.
Well, that's fine. Again, I actually don't mind when. Oh my god, these headphones. Sorry, it's Hold on. Ah. Oof. Sorry. It hurts after a while to wear them. So just crushing my ears.
Eh.
But anyway, like as you were saying, it's yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't mind randomizers actually because they bring an extra layer of challenge to the game, which is welcomed, I should say. It's just it depends on the game you're playing. Like, have you ever seen what people whenever people try to do like randomized Resident Evil?
Kinda.
The whole game becomes an unplayable mess.
I do remember like Kraken's Resident Evil 5 video right at the end. It was just so weird because you have like Chris's head on Sheva's body and like
No, it's a
Sheva
lot.
on Chris's body and then all
No,
the
no, no, no.
eggs.
No. The difference is that when you randomize Resident Evil games, it's like the entire level shifts. We're talking about like a room that would typically be, oh, I don't know, a save room can be anything, or any item you see in the game, you pick it up. It could be anything, and I don't mean like weapons. I mean things you need to progress, kind of shit. And the enemies you could encounter every possible turn could be end game bosses. That's why I say it becomes an unplayable mess because there's no way to account for insanity like that. And it's true, and that's the problem with these when you randomize Legend of Zelda. That
Oh
is
gosh,
doomed to
Legend of Zelda
failure.
randomizers are insanely popular right now, but also very crazy looking.
Well, the thing is, they're popular because in Zelda, or in the Zelda and Metroid communities out there are things called any percent completions or minimal completion events. And what happens is that when people do these kinds of things, it's fun to watch because it's interesting to see how much they can or cannot achieve like this. With a Zelda, it's like, okay, um, you finish the game with only 3 hearts, and that makes the game more difficult. Or you only play with this specific sword, or with Metroid, this amount of energy tanks and missiles, and that's it. And it's just a challenge run, basically. That's what it becomes. With Zelda randomizers, it's more difficult because, well, you know how the dungeons in Zelda work, right?
Mm-hmm. Like
You
each
go into
dungeon is like built around, like depending on the Zelda game, each dungeon is built around an item you're going to find halfway through the
exactly,
dungeon.
exactly, or right at the dungeon in some
Yeah.
instances, or what you found before that dungeon. Well, for randomizers, the item you get at these critical points.
You're cutting out.
Sorry, I stopped because I was going to sneeze. I muted myself.
Ah.
Yes. The problem with the Zelda random, the items you can get could be from different dungeons you haven't reached yet, and that could mean that you could wind up with a dead game. As in, oh, you can only traverse this dungeon with the hook shot, but the chest you opened had a stick in it for some reason.
Or like
Well, that's
in Wind Waker, which is one of my favorites.
mm,
The first dungeon that you go through requires the grappling hook. Or well, yeah, the grappling hook is like your best thing there. But you have a chance of getting the hook shot instead, or the Deku Leaf, which is in like the second dungeon, which greatly requires the Deku Leaf.
but you see the problem with these
Yeah.
randomizers, especially Zelda. A lot of times what makes these randomizers viable, or you can actually do them, is because there are ways to exploit the system or ways to um, successfully do them without facing a dead game. And one of the examples of this is that there is a bit of a joke, which is called the sword of evil's bane, the equivalent of a stick. And the reason for that is because, well, the game is programmed for when you face Ganon, or specifically with like Ocarina of Time, when you face Ganon at the very end, he knocks out the Master Sword from your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to prevent the game from being unbeatable, the game's programming allows everything you could possibly use to hurt Ganon in the final fight. So yes, one of them is the stick. You can kill Ganon with a stick.
This is why, like, the biggest joke of Breath of the Wild is running at Ganon at the very beginning of the game with just a stick in your underwear.
Exactly.
Granted,
And
you could do that, but it's not the best idea.
But no, there's a reason. Like I said, there's a reason to that, and that's because, well, it's again for the sake of speed run, obviously. But there are other reasons out there too, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. With Zelda, depending on the Zelda game you do, randomizers can work, but it's very picky on what kind of game you're playing. If it's like Breath of the Wild, I don't think a randomizer would really change anything because, well, let's face it, Breath of the Wild's item pool is randomized on its own.
Yep.
You know, you always will find sticks or swords or whatever in the wild. So, and the other problem is as well is that items don't exist in Breath of the Wild. Everything is from your iPad.
Yeah, pretty much.
I never thought I would ever say that Breath of the Wild, Zelda's mystical ancient iPad.
Did you know that there's a Robin Williams reference, like 2 of them in Breath of the Wild?
Yes, I know. Yes.
I thought that was so cool.
Painful,
but cool.
Oh yeah, what makes it also sad is that they couldn't actually flat out admit, yes, this is Robin Williams for obvious reasons.
Like, if you're lucky to find the guy, there's a model that looks exactly like him near one of the stables. I don't remember the name of it. And then there's a scientist character who's got a big personality, big energy, named Robbie, I believe.
Yes. And again, that's the great sorrow about it all. I mean, it's polite to see that. At the same time, it's like, and now I'm sad.
It's worse with like Detective Pikachu.
Ugh.
With Detective.
Go ahead.
With Detective Pikachu, they wanted Professor Oak to be in it, but they specifically wanted Robin Williams to be Professor Oak, which would have been hilarious and amazing. But
we know.
Yeah, it was like it happened like right before it got green lighted. So.
Mm-hmm. No, but the other thing I wanted to say, the reason Drake is so depressing is because everyone else in this game, the characters you really grow attached to and like, are fucking dead too. And you're like, oh, fuck, now I'm even more sad.
Yeah.
It's like the giant rock dude is dead, who's like, I guess, fun uncle. Your rival, which is a fucking bird, is also dead, so you can't show him up. The big sister maternal figure is also dead, so you can't really say, oh, I appreciate what you did.
And the girl that you mutually really, really liked.
And Fish girlfriend is dead.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like, it's one on top of the other. Like, whenever I got to see their personalities and everything, I was like, oh, I really wanted more of the, It's that realization where it's like, oh, they're dead. Oh, now I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm depressed as fuck. But of course, for people out there who are very odd, you have another fish to fawn over, so. Yeah.
That's for damn sure. And
What?
I'm among them.
Well, that's the thing. I'm gonna be flat out. It's like I saw Side on immediately. Why? It's like, oh, he's cool. And now I have the weirdest boner.
Fuck. I think the biggest reason why people love him so much is because even if you fail, even if you make huge mistakes, he's always encouraging you.
Yes.
Like, he is a walking compliment generator.
No, it's not really walking compliment generator. It's more like his optimism is so infectious you can't get away from him. It's like, you know what? Yes, this is awesome. At the same time, it's kind of like, I feel terrible because his sister's dead. It's kind of my fault.
And his sister and myself both had boners for each other in some way. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I kind of find weird when it's like people's like, you know, it's like, oh, you do know that, you know, you were probably, you know, it's like the character was probably boning his sister, right? Do you have any idea how awkward that's going to be?
Am I the only one who saw that elderly, like those two elderly guys are very mean to you? Am I the one who looked at those guys and went, yeah, your dinner. I'm very happy. I would be very happy to eat both of you.
Oh, yeah. One of them is a manta ray.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I found the manta ray one, I was a depressed old man, and I want to make you happy. That was like my goal. I want to make you like me just so I can piss you off further. And the other old man was just kind of...
He was just a
dick. Well, no, he's angry because he's supposed to be this badass warrior, and yet he can't do this. And I'm like, I feel sorry for you. In the worst possible way. Also, I need to say this right now. The fucking king, Jesus Christ, what happened here?
I know, right?
Well, I see him, and my immediate thought, first off, obviously, my immediate thought was, wait, does that mean his kids would have been like this? And then the second thought was, oh, your poor wife. Oh, yeah, just, oh, God. You probably crushed her. In that, like, sentencing and everything.
And also, why do you look like that but your kids don't?
I don't know. It's always
the
been
king
a thing.
is a whale. He's not a shark.
Yes.
That's
sperm. I think he's a sperm whale, actually.
No. Sperm whales do not have the strange textured bellies. It's it's blue whales and humpback whales, the ones that have to take
That's it.
Yeah, they take in large amounts of water when they eat. So like their bellies are very flexible, very stretchy. And that's exactly what the king looks like. He's stretched the entire time.
This was done on purpose, wasn't it? This design was on purpose. I don't know if I should be cleverly amused by this or I should start slapping people. It's like, you motherfucker.
It's because regardless of like certain laws, like Japan is really big on whale hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, shark fin hunting.
Of course, but it's still... I just assumed that... what is it? I just assumed their mother was a shark. That's it. As for the size thing, I'm fairly certain it's genetic. Like, I'm sure they would have gotten huge at that point. Hell, I think his son is like above average height. I think.
Yeah, his son is pretty damn big too.
There you go. Then it's a good chance that... Again, I'm thinking back to the princess, and my immediate thought, huge. She's gonna get huge.
But is that a bad thing?
No, that's the joke. It's like, yes.
We're gonna be designing a new character. She's female. Oh, okay. She's gonna be 5 stories tall. Fuck yeah.
Exactly, in that order. But like I said, it's still fucking depressing. Because it's like, oh, I would love to learn more. They're dead. Fuck. Just pure rage at that point. It's like, why do you make me care? Why? But I'll admit this, and you know, this is obviously off tangent from the topic, but who cares? That's kind of the point of the show at this point. I will admit this: that Breath of the Wild did well in introducing like secondary characters you get to know, which I actually enjoyed. You know, outside of Sidon, obviously, you have others like the Bird Father out there. Both of them, actually. The one that plays the accordion and the one that actually.
Yeah, I know him.
You know, the bird, the parrot that everyone fell in.
Yeah. Oh
Good
my
God.
gosh. The furry fandom has gone crazy over him.
Yeah, and immediately it was like, why do they all like? Oh, okay, now I see. And at the same time, I'm like, again, it's weird, you know, but in a good way. That and I actually was shocked that he actually had a wife and kids. 5 fucking kids.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, did she have did she have them all in one sitting, or were you two just so madly in love you kept popping them out? That was my first question. Once
I
I
mean,
found out about.
we laugh and we joke, but here's the thing: the biggest derailment in D&D is the bard. And
Mm-hmm.
here is why. Bards are built specifically on charisma and their ability to perform. Music, mostly. Just putting that out there. I just realized what I said. But,
Perform in bed.
yeah. But, like, a bard in any game will always get the same threat. If you seduce the dragon, I'm going to kill you. Like, it's like the biggest fear that the bard will seduce the enemy or the allies. They will seduce everyone with their words or their music. So it kind of makes sense that the musician bird has all those kids from one lady.
Well, he is a bard too, so I'm pretty sure that was intentional. It's still funny though. I'm sorry. Now I'm just thinking about bards like having sex and no, and immediately my thought is, do they fucking sing during it?
No, but
Is
they
there
call
the
it, like, bards don't always have to use music. Some use dance, some use like encouraging speeches or words. Uh, others
I,
just like others just like use a sword, believe it or not.
I called this sex move the tap dance. But I'm sorry, but I say that, and my other thought is, do they sing "Come on, Eileen" when this happens? Has someone out there done that in D&D? Has someone done that?
I don't. Sam Riegel probably
Oh,
has.
hold on, I'll be right back. Hold
Okay. I'm trying to find something over here.
And I am back
Yeah,
again.
I'm back.
But like I said, it's just a little, I guess, inside joke. Still, like I said, I really did enjoy Breath of the Wild. I had a blast with that game. The world was alive, the people were alive,
That was
basically.
the best thing about Breath of the Wild. Like, even if you're standing out in the middle of nowhere, the game still felt like it was being lived in.
Yes. And what I actually enjoyed was that, well, I love the fact that this is a Zelda.
Yeah.
Ganon is in control and everything. I love the fact that most of the people view you as, like they talk about you as a legend and etc. etc. And I really enjoyed it, and it felt nice not being recognized as the hero all the time. You know, just a regular dude in the world, which I really
Yeah.
enjoyed. What I did appreciate the Zora remembering. That was interesting. Again, it kind of shows how long these people. Also, can I say this? Their aging is very weird to me.
Yeah.
Like again, Sidon was like what 4 when this whole thing happened 100 years ago. Now Good lord. I'm just so confused. But yeah, so you had that. You had the Rito believing he were the descendant of the. This is kind of sweet, and at the same time, it kind of makes sense, you know. Again, something you don't see in Zelda very often. The descendant of Link. That would be a cool game.
I
That would really. Go
I
ahead.
mean, the Wind Waker Link was technically a descendant.
Well, I mean a direct descendant. Like
Ah,
it's
yeah,
only
yeah.
been one. You know, like you're actually like his grandson or something like that. I would love a game like that where you actually have to live up to the legacy of the hero that comes before, like in a direct way, not in a mystical prophecy. You are the chosen one bullshit. Again, that drives me up a wall. But yeah, and like I guess this kind of leads into the whole. I can't wait for the sequel. Oh my god, it's
Yes.
gonna be great. But can I ask, why does everyone want to hydrate Ganon?
Because when he hydrates,
Why?
he looks bara as fuck. Like he's a
But
giant.
that's the question. It's like, who came up with this concept? It's
Somebody from
it's
Nintendo.
but it's funny, and at the same time, I'm just kind of sitting there like, holy shit, what the fuck? Why? Why is he so buff? Man, actually, there is something I kind of liked about the trailer, getting into it, and that was a small little scene. Not a lot of people noticed. In that whole bit when Zelda and Link are kind of walking down the hall,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking at the shadows, and suddenly there's like the shadow of Ganon being forced into the spot. There's actually something I noticed about it,
What?
and that is, well, he's not wearing armor. He's wearing clothing, like regular civilian sort of dress, as in like a little like a robe, basically. No armor, no nothing. And that kind of leads into the thought of, was he really bad, or were they so horrified by the idea of a return of Ganon that they just took this innocent guy and said, you know what, you're gonna
You're gonna what?
zombified state. Wait, what? Again, that's kind of a fucked up thing to consider. But again, it would explain a few things.
Yeah.
It still doesn't explain the Hydrate Ganon thing.
Because when they find him, he's a mummy. So you gotta hydrate
I
him.
know. It's just a joke. It's like I'm just sitting here. It's like, I don't get why you want to do this. Why is he so buff? Yeah, it still makes me laugh. But yeah, we have gone off topic so far. Jesus Christ. Yeah, all right. Well, let's get back to it. We can have a Breath of the Wild talk.
Some other time.
We'll dedicate an entire screen to stream to just Zelda. Insert magic pain glove here. Sorry. It still makes me laugh. It still does. Anyway, so going into their next piece, and that is Destiny 2. So I decided to give it a shot when it went free to play on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I had the worst fucking time of my life with that. Well, let me explain. I could not, for the life of me, optimize the settings to make the game run on my PC. It was obnoxious. Like, I continued to go in and I would put in changes, right? I was like, okay, I would just low, put this on low, put this on low, put this on medium, put that on low, that right, back and forth, back and forth. I would put apply, and then everything would crash. Like Destiny 2 would crash horribly to the point where I had to completely restart my PC. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? Why can't I do this without destroying my computer? I don't get it. So I continued to kind of fiddle with it. In the end, I just stopped doing it. because I figured, okay, it's just going to keep crashing on me. But then, my computer is, with connections and everything. My internet's good. It's just my PC that.
Yeah. You have potato, like almost on
have
par
about
with Liam.
No, I have a 7-year-old laptop.
Yep, potato.
I still don't get that. But so what wound up happening is that eventually I'm just gonna have to bite through and deal with this until they issue an update, in which, like with Warframe issuing their lowered specs so everyone could play it, update. I'm gonna have to do the same. I'm gonna have to wait around. Bungie does the same. How long will that be? So I kept playing. I was like, okay, it can't be than what I'm dealing with now. I continued until I got about, maybe, I want to say, halfway through the first level, and I was just being killed constantly. Like right at the end of the first mission, you fight a spider tank, and your gear's kind of low level and everything.
Yeah.
And it's an open, like, multiple players can enter the area thing. It shifts from single player to multiplayer. So everyone's fighting and playing it against this thing. And the tank just wouldn't die. Because players would come in, leave, and come in, it just kept getting its health. To the point where I spent an entire hour just trying to fight this thing so I could get going. And for some reason, even when part of it is like, oh, just kill about 100 enemies and then you can go. For some reason, it just wouldn't accept the fact that I killed 100 enemies. I guess it's programmed to just when you kill the tank, and that's it. So I said, okay, fuck it, I'll just deal with it. I killed the tank after an hour. I finally get along my way, and at the end of the I can go to the tower and maybe explore more of the world. Maybe once I get to the tower, I can update my settings and relax and enjoy the game. I got there, and I couldn't move. The game had put me right in front of the Ever Store, which is the microtransaction store. And I don't think this was, oh, you just randomly spawned there. No, because I was seeing multiple people appearing and disappearing right next to me in front of the fucking. This was intentional. This is them funneling players directly to the store. And I was just, I was both disgusted and annoyed to the point. I just kept moving my mouse, showing the game, I'm still online, I'm still online. It boots me out because it says, oh, connection to our servers failed. Please try again later. You'll go back to the title screen. I'm like, I'll go to the title screen and then it'll bring me to where I left off, right? It puts me back at level 1 like I never did. At that point, I just said, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not playing this, and I'm back to Warframe. And I've gone back to Warframe. And and I'm sure people have a different experience. Maybe, I don't want this to be reflective of what Destiny 2 is on PC or what Bungie is as a company. I don't want that to reflect on. It's my experience, and I had a bad time. If it improves and if I can change the specs and everything later on, then I will go back and I'll try it again. I'm not saying I'm never playing it again. I'm just saying it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't want to come back to it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But no, I'm not going into Destiny 2 anytime soon. I'm not gonna give, go into a full in-depth review of everything. I'm done. I'm good. I'm just gonna let my friends talk about it and continue that project. That's the end of it. Again, kind of a nitpicky sort of thing, but I'm okay. Again, this is a more personal story.
Yeah.
I will say this: it's actually very interesting what Destiny 2's done, which is basically they've redesigned the start of the game, so that way the players are actually. It feels like Destiny 1 sort of never happened, but it did, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're rewriting it in such a way that new players don't feel too left out of the experience. I should say that's the best way to put it. And I enjoy it. I actually they came up with as a concept. That's fun. You know, I'm not mad. I'm not. I think that's a good idea for Bungie to have done. That's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, I'm I'm not going to that anytime soon. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm going home. I'm going back to the orbiter and I'm playing as big ass ninjas again.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Exactly. In that order. But yes, so there's that going, which again isn't a bad thing to begin with. Actually, someone asked me before we did the show if I was going to cover another Blasphemous. You heard of it?
I've heard the name.
Blasphemous is basically it's a Castlevania art styled PC game with very heavy. I don't want to say Christian all the way. It's more like Catholic, Roman, something like that. Religion, where basically you to and this is a horrible butchering of it all. It's like you gain salvation because you suffer in life, that kind of thing. But it's very interesting. The art style is quite nice, actually. I liked it really. It was very creative. It is very creative. A
Yeah.
lot of the enemies are also very interesting. And again, I do like this sort of Catholic Roman style to many of the enemies and style to many of pieces of clothing and everything around it as well. I really did enjoy some of the architecture and everything. I just find it, but at the same time, I'm looking. The game story is very much Dark Soulsy, where it's all just very legends are our history, and it's all up to interpret that shit. I'm like, not again. Can I not get a Souls-like game that isn't this overly complicated piece of shit? Said with anger. I did like it. I do remember someone. I think some people had an issue with the main character's hat because it's a pointy hood. Oh, sorry, it's not a pointy hood. It's a. It's. I like the design. It's. I think the protagonist is like called the penitent one or something. It's something like that. I'm trying to remember. Penitent. Yeah, it is penitent. But I really like the character design. It's very strange, but in a good way strange. Like this is the sort of like armor some very devout cultist would wear. But it's not a cultist, it's someone from the religious sect of this world. Even the helmet's design, the faceplate is very.
Let me see. Let me see this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly, but that's the thing. I like the helmet. It's
I
very
look at that and I think of that video, that Dark Souls character sliding down the ladder with that pointy hat, just ting 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 ting. Because
exactly.
the developers had to program that in.
Yeah, but with this, it's the same thing. It's just I like the thorny crown that wraps all the way up to the helmet. I like how the character looks like just a very old wanderer who's just been around the world too long. You know, very worldly, I should say. He looks like he's dressed for travel, but not but travel but ready for con. All at once. I like it, but he's very strange when it comes to. I don't know if you can hear that sound, by the way.
What?
That low hum.
I thought it was on my side.
No, it's on my side, and I think it's a lawnmower or something. I don't know. It started up like a bit ago. Anyway, but that's what I like. Blasphemous is this oppressing world that venerates the idea of suffering and growing and earning your right and everything. And my immediate thought is, fuck this place and fuck this religion. You know, specifically because like one of them, the whole thing is like, oh, they venerate this weird thing called the painful miracle and blah 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 blah. It's such a wondrous thing because it absolves you of sin. It's like, motherfuckers, it is a malicious thing, plain and simple.
Yep.
Like, it killed a kid just because he asked to be forgiven. That is not benevolent. That's spiteful.
And that, have you people actually read the goddamn Bible? Do you have any idea
Yeah,
how many people God has obliterated?
For nothing.
Exactly, not even for a corn chip.
Exactly, and that's what pisses me off about this world. It's like I look at this and my immediate thought is like, you know what? Fuck this world. Where's the obliterate everyone button? Can I push that? Yes? Good. Like I said, it's just like, I love the world. I hate what's in it. It's a weird kind of complex. Again, it kind of shows why I'm not religious. You know, I just don't believe in this nonsense of someone gains paradise because they suffer in life. That's not, no. Like, my moral principle is this: strive to be good. That's it. Is that so hard to do in life? And it isn't because it's like, oh, karma will do this, that, or no. It's like, just be a good person. You know, the world's bleak enough as it is.
That's why I have like rules in my Twitch, in my Discord, to leave real world stuff out. Because like wherever I'm at, the real world can take a hike for a while. Because like the world is bad enough already. Like, there are some good things, but like all we ever get to see are negative. So just let us have some time of peace for once.
Yes. But like I said, for me, it's just, I view, like I said, people say, oh, I've lost faith in humanity. Do. And like I said, the reason why is because, again, this is why the Imperium appeals so much to me. And that is because, like I said, the Emperor isn't some omniscient, ultra-powerful god figure that we should... He's just a man. He was just a man that became insanely powerful. And that's what makes me say, you know what, the Imperium has... Venerate the idea of man growing powerful and challenging what would be gods. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is why I have the personal creed of no devils or...
No devil what?
No devils or angels, only...
Andrew Ryan.
Kinda. Except, you know, it's like no gods or devils. At least with like my coat of arms, it's more about we encourage the human and we defy everything. Again, it's like, if I've joked about this 100 times before. I see some omnipotent being that's like, worship me and da da da. My immediate thought is, I'm going to kill you now. That's it. It's like, but you'll be damned for all eternity. Yeah, and I'm still gonna do it. You know, it's kind of like the joke I say. It's like, when I die, I'm going to punch God in the face. And then some. But yeah. We might cover Blasphemous when I get more information about this fucking game.
Yeah.
Because again, it is obnoxiously confusing.
If we're sticking off topics, like, by the way, Day of Dragons is out.
Wait, it released?
Like, you're not a part of the Discord, are you?
Well, no.
No, like they're going through like the stages of an early released game. Like, I think yesterday or last night. Sorry. They were doing like stress tests on their servers. Like, how...
Oh, an open beta.
Yeah, it's an open beta now. Oh, oops. I found the post I was looking for. But it's not
Good.
it's not Dave Dragons related. Like, so now everybody in the audience have heard random accordion or violin or something. Let me look
No,
for Dave
I
Dragons.
haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I know. The audience will hear it, not you. Because
Oh.
I forgot to mute Twitter.
Ah, I see. Let me check my wish lists.
Day of Dragons. It's on my wish list too.
Yeah, there it is.
You can't get it
Okay.
yet, but
Yeah, okay.
it is open beta.
Okay. I can see it.
Most of the posts on the Discord were how weird getting the stream keys was, because some people did not do this through Kickstarter. I don't remember the exacts of what they said, but some people actually used PayPal to support. So
and PayPal's weird.
yeah. So
Okay, here we go. Well, I'm looking at Steam. It's supposed to come out in 4 weeks. Soon.tm.
dragons. Like, this is why the Isle was so insanely popular. You get to be a dinosaur. Like, every child's biggest amazement is seeing a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the next step, like, the next greatest thing for a little kid is a dragon. For some of us.
Yeah. Well, so, that's the thing. Just stay tuned for when the channel's content for all time.
When the...
No, good Jim, we do the show and we're just like nothing changes. We're just sitting there in some open field. It's like, hi, welcome.
You know what's hilarious is I could actually change your background image to just being dragons sitting in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's just like in game. It's just standing around like, hi, we're dragons now. Ain't that weird? And everything just continues as normal.
I say we do that while hanging around Pookie.
Okay, that's fine.
The giant death sandworm.
Exactly. We're floating around. It's like Pookie has become our mic now. Don't ask us why. It just did. It just is.
Yay.
Anyway, but yeah. Oh god. So we've talked about this and we've talked about it. So I think we should just kind of continue on. Also because these fucking headphones, I hate them so much. So here's an interesting question. Is it a good idea to let web cartoonists have their own TV shows?
Some. Like, this is another one of those topics where it just all depends on the cartoonist. Because a good number of them are porn.
Oh, funny you mentioned that, because I remember a story breaking some time ago, and that was Rebecca Sugar's whole thing, where apparently people were discovering that she used to do like porn, and like a lot of like things she never released was getting discovered, and people were trying to use it to destroy her. And I'm looking at it and it's like, and this is a problem because.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a sec. I'll be right. I'm gonna find out what that fucking noise is.
Oh, I am so tired. I keep yawning. How many people do we have in this chat? I really should not check, but I want to. We have one person on Twitch. We have 4 people on YouTube. Hello, people on YouTube! Sorry if you've been hearing me yawn or bump into my mic, or things have been a little weird audio-wise. That's just how things are. We like to think that we're taking this show seriously, but we're not.
And I'm back.
Uh,
Sorry about that. I found out what the noise is. Someone is doing some sort of renovation 3 apartments down.
oh, I forgot to send you a picture of my mom and my brother to keep an eye out for them.
Oh joy.
Well, it's gonna be very easy for my brother. He's like 6 feet tall, always wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers baseball cap, and he looks like a drug dealer.
Well, here's the funny thing. My commute to work,
Mm-hmm.
I literally pass Gatorland every. It's like right on the main road. I could there and say, and just kind of wait around with a sign that says, "Hey, your daughter says." Hey.
So my mom asked me what I would like her to bring back as like souvenirs. And she said, I'll see about grabbing you something really cute and really pretty. I went, no, give me something Jaws related or, I don't know, alligator related. Oh, how about something that looks like a hammerhead shark? Because a friend of mine kept talking about like a hammerhead that terrorized the area. And she just looked at me like, are you sure you don't want like Legoland stuff or, I don't know, a superhero thing? No. No, 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 no. Never ever give me something superhero related. I will burn it.
I will burn it.
I don't like superheroes. Like, give me
No,
Ghost
it's fine, it's
Rider.
fine.
Like, Ghost Rider is perfect. I love Ghost Rider. No superheroes.
It's fine. It's fine.
Though if she does get
But
me like Lego stuff, I'll be very happy.
but no. Anyway, point was well, this is kind of the problem a lot of people have been talking about for good reason, and that is a lot of these people who wind up doing doing these web cartoons, and then going to doing TV shows for like kids and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the best people out there. They really aren't.
Again,
And
some of them are bad, some of them are good.
well, I think, but that's the thing. I think too many of the bad wind up getting because their art is just. Well, here's the thing. I firmly believe that someone out that this whole cartoonist industry is like full of people who know each other, like to no end. And what winds up happening a lot is, oh god, what's the word? They wind up working on the same shows together, right? Like coming by and saying, oh, oh, I'm working on the show. I would like you to work with me. That wind up doing it, and then these same people wind up getting work in a different studio because, oh, my friend, I worked on this show because I know the person, leading to just a constant cycle of shows that are extremely similar to other shows constantly popping up. And like I said, I've sat there, I've looked at the constant shows that are being poured out, and the whole time I'm thinking it's just it's annoying. And like I said, I've stories from people who work with these cartoonists, and it's very clear they don't know the first thing of how to do anything. Like, how do I put it? The oh god, what's the word? Basically, for that's it was like it was described like this: like the showrunner, the person who's supposed to run is off in La La Land. Then the coordinators, the people who are supposed to like put pieces together, and like, okay, here, now, what's it called? I know it's like an official position. Oh my god, what's it called? Storyboarders. That's it. Storyboarders. They're off doing their own thing, and they wind up sneaking or putting things into this kid show that shouldn't be in there because they want to push something or because it's like, oh, it's whatever the hell I want to do. And again, there's something going on here, you know. And the reason I say that is because I've noticed there's a very peculiar trend as of late. You remember when you and I were growing up as kids, how there was always shows that would run for a good while and really not, for many, many seasons and really not disappear.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've noticed, as of late, there is this kind of pseudo, what's the word? I've noticed that a lot of the newer shows nowadays, season or 3 at most, and then getting canceled. And at first, first someone would say, "Oh, it's because viewers, people weren't watching them," or that, right?
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more it's too unusual for it to be coincidence. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like these shows are being canceled. The attention isn't there. Sorry, isn't because it's some sort of external force. I think it's something internal. I think it's just because these show writers aren't the right fit for um, the show, and they're just getting hired on because they're famous from the internet. Ergo, they'll bring in a lot of people from the internet. When in reality, it's like, nope, it didn't happen. How do I
It's like,
put it? Go ahead.
here's a bit of a fun fact for some people who don't know. The
Mm-hmm.
Invader Zim. You guys do realize where the creator of that came from, right? Like the horrific little webcomic he used to have.
Trying to remember. Like, this is some deep web shit. I can't.
So
I've.
I don't remember the proper title of it, but he used to have this horrifying comic where it was a psychopath that would kidnap people, torture them to death in his basement. I think it's like homicidal maniac, something like that.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Some
Yeah,
art of
so
that floating around out there.
Invader, like the guy who made Invader Zim, made that. Um, the guys that made Regular Show originally did two dudes just getting high on a couch. But then, like, when it came to Thomas the Tank Engine, like the newer stuff, the guy that now makes that did a series on the internet that you would not let your children see. And it takes you a second to really really clock what the hell that guy was all about, and yet he's here making a children's show for the early morning.
Exactly. Well, there's something I need to mention about, like, to use Regular's show as an example. I remember that the show was like in trouble because not a lot of people were watching it because it felt like a poor attempt to copy other shows at the time. But then the creators were like, you know what? Let's just try to make this show more towards adults, but in a kid friendly sort of way, you know. And because they did that, the show really took off. In fact, I find myself actually enjoying it because they bring in things that I used to remember, growing up around and things of that nature. I'm like, holy shit, this show is actually not that bad, and it was meant for kids, and yet somehow they're getting away with adult content in a good way. The kids like it, I like it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But that same approach isn't being taken to new shows anymore. It seems like they're trying to appeal to the wrong. It's like they're going about it in the wrong.
Yeah.
The new Shiro show, the one I talked about.
Ugh.
I don't even remember how long ago I talked about it. It was like almost a month ago, I want to say.
Give or take, yeah.
Again, this is the downside of format. It's difficult to remember things more than a week or so ago. Yeah, yeah, but the reason why I bring this up is because that show, I watched I watched it myself, and then I watched other people's take on it, specifically because I was like, it isn't just me, right? The show sucks, and it turns out, yeah, it sucks. And like I said, the show isn't interesting. It's not good. It's not creative. It feels like it's for it's like they want to join an adult crowd, a crowd that identifies politically, right?
Yeah.
And yet they're trying to make it appeal to the children, and it's just neutering the entire thing. Like, I sat there, and the entire and like I said, there was just some absolutely creepy shit in that show. We're talking about like, okay, like I'm gonna be out there. It's like I don't mind when people date someone who's slightly older or younger than themselves, and by that I mean, just so I'm clear, as clear as possible, I mean like a year or two older or younger. All right. Okay, we're good now.
Yeah. And
But
overall, over 18.
exactly. You know what I mean. Like if you're in your 30s and you date someone that's like 25 or something, I don't mind. I don't find that unusual. You know?
Yeah.
Well, okay. No, I find it unusual, but in the sense of like, I wonder why they chose that person. Not in the sense of, oh, someone's a disgusting pervert here. But this show, it does that, but in the wrong way. Like we're talking about people who are like in their, I want to like some of them are clearly in their as adults, and some that are just like still semi-teenager or just entering into their adulthood. And it
Oh,
feels
it's like that. It's like that Japanese character who looks like they're 12, but they're really like 30.
exactly, and that's what this show does. And I'm looking at it, and the entire time I'm watching this and watching these characters interact, I'm like, I am getting very big creeper vibes. Can we not do this, please?
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm sitting here outside from the show's many inconsistencies when it comes to characters. We're talking about like, oh, this character can do this now, and then suddenly she can't because how do I put it in the best possible way? It's in the back of my mind. Hold on. It's like it's like okay, their abilities are dictated plot more so than their abilities as characters.
So it's like they're Star Trekking it.
No, it's more like D&D, and when like the DM wrote what's the expression?
Like where they write all of these like all these different quests, but like the players go for something they didn't intend for.
No. It's more like the characters are capable. They have their stat sheets and everything all listed out. But then the DM decides they're more like this now because the plot demands it. That's it. There is a word for that, a term for that, and I cannot. It's like, oh my god, what is it?
I don't remember either.
I want to say railroading.
Railroading is where the DM has a set story, and the players are not allowed to move away from the story.
I know that Kuzi, Liam, everyone, I think it was Snow, was doing that.
That is her. She is the more the bad side of railroading, because sometimes when you have like D&D and you railroad, it can be good as long as you do it right.
Yes, obviously.
But with her, for like the original campaign that she was doing, because we're doing like a flashback in time with Galibor and the crew. Even if we swapped out the characters we were playing, the story would have continued and would have required our previous character to be there. Like,
right.
She did that kind of railroading. Like,
well,
it doesn't matter if you change, nothing's going to change, and it's not going to be
exactly.
good.
And that's what the show basically is. It's just these characters have the most instant writing because the plot demands it, to the point where I'm just sitting there and I'm sitting there and my immediate thought is I could probably do this better if I was I could probably do this entire series better if I just sat down with a bottle of Coke, some Cheez-Its, and was high off my ass. And oh, look at that! I've written a better story under 5 minutes, and I'm not even doing my best work, like that kind of shit. And like I said, this is an example when you get the wrong cartoonists behind your projects. And this is where, like I said, where some people off the internet to do it, because a lot of times they can. This is what I think. I think the internet gives you the freedom to experiment with more out there stories and more risky concepts, right?
Yeah.
Just in general, and people gravitate to what you're doing because it's both unusual, unexpected, and also something interesting or intriguing. And again, that's why people will gravitate to a creator on the internet. Maybe they come up with a creative concept or a creative idea or just anything in general like that, and they're not really tied down by, oh, the census says we have to do this now. And that's what I actually enjoy. But the problem is when you go into television, a lot of what you try to do or what you're known for doing on the internet cannot come with you because, again, the census tells you, oh, you can't, censorship rules, and think of the children and nah. That's what happens. And I think that's the failure of getting cartoonists to go into making televised series. And that's why I'm kind of more about the idea of, hey, if you want to make a cartoon, just do it. Write it or animate it or do whatever the hell you want online, and there you go. That's the end of it. You don't need, and a lot of times more people will come to like it because, oh, look at that. You're doing something you enjoy and people like it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that it fails. I mean, with again, to use Steven Universe, for example, it skirts the line of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable too often to really be caught up in the place. And a lot of times it turns out Rebecca and her crew slip in things at the very last second, so that way the censors can't catch it in time. And again, that's, in my opinion, that make something about that. I think you should be censored for it. But at the same time, there is a time and a place for everything, And whatever you're making, if you, how do I put it? In terms of storytelling, there has to be conflict, there has to be stakes, there has to be things in it. Having the gay old adventures of Homo Tony is a good story does not make. Again, because
as much as a lot of people wish that, it's just no.
Exactly, and that's what shows like the new Shira fail to do. The show is nothing but ship tease. Hey, maybe these people are in a relationship, or maybe these people. Can you stop, please? You're sacrificing the plot for this. Stop it! Now you're pissing me off. And there's not even half the time it's not even chemically appropriate. It just seems situational. And then people will latch on to that. And I mean it in the fullest sense too, but I was sitting there, and in the entire time whenever I tease the shit, I'm like, can you stop? Whoever approved this, I need to punch them in the throat. Specifically in the throat.
Yeah.
They open their mouth, they're about to say something stupid, and they immediately punch the throat. Just without warning. No. All right. I will beat these people into a coma. And I will be there all the time, just waiting. As soon as they wake up, I'm gonna be there. Where am I? Wham! Where am I? Wham! Sir, visiting hours are closed. Wham! I just punched him. Sorry, I had to make that joke. I did. If you know where that's from, good on you. You have good taste in. No, okay. but no, and that's what drove me up the wall. How most of the characters were like, oh, maybe they're in really, that kind of shit. And the entire time, it just made me want, like I said, to punch someone in the fucking throat. The only time where it felt natural, ironically, was between the main villain and someone with Stockholm Syndrome, and they actually show that they care about each other. It's a slow thing, it's subtle, it's a friendship that's blooming into something, and there you go. That's how you do a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, these two characters are alone in a room. Boom, they're together. It's like, the fuck? What is that saying? Subtext matters? No, context matters.
Yeah, context matters.
Subtext matters. It's ridiculous, but no. So, like I said, I guess the point I'm making, if you want someone to create a cartoon, right, or have an idea for a cartoon or anything, look for are competent, who show they have history on making something decent, and don't go after the people who are do it online, because half the time known, or sorry, the things they can make will appeal to a very specific demographic, and it's very likely that they have different goals than what you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, stop hiring people from Tom. It's not working.
Some of them would actually, some people from Tumblr would be a good idea, but not all of them. I know a good number of them that are actually really nice and could really use like a break like this.
Okay. Let me specify. If they can make character designs that don't overemphasize something, i.e., oh, this person's black and this design emphasizes that first. That first.
Yeah.
And if their stories are actually good, as in point A to point B plot with decent character progression and creation, then I'm on board. If their whole thing is just, hey, these two characters like them, I'm done. You are not the person I'm looking for to hire, basically.
Yeah.
Wait for people just in the comments or anywhere, just screaming their heads off. Oh, Rev is this. Oh, Rev is every label under the motherfuckers. I said this once, I'll say it again. There is nothing you could do to me that hasn't already been done. So bring it. I'm angry now. I'm gonna go have sex with my wife so I'm not so angry. Pure hate fucking.
You're not married.
That you know of.
You're not married. Then who have I been fucking this whole time? Alright, final topic so we can finish this.
Yes, and I can get out of these so uncomfortable headphones.
Oh, Lycan rated us with a party of 5. Hello, people.
No, we've been raided. Quick, batten down the hatches.
Oh, we were just... Hi, Lycan. We were just about to get to our last topic.
Well, what he rated us with?
5 people.
No, what are they saying?
It's just Lycan typing. A lot of people that, join... I've noticed, a lot of people that join Twitch chats just put lurk, and then they disappear. And they're not even aware that they're being a part of the raid.
Oh no, we're being attacked with... No! I love this.
Oh, we got Snow. Hi, Snow. Dab.
Hi, Snow.
She's dabbing on us.
I've never been raided before. This is such an interesting experience.
Personally, raiding is a whole lot better than simply hosting.
Really?
Yeah, because with raiding, the person is immediately thrown into the other person's channel instead of getting the option, you can visit the channel, but otherwise you're still on the previous person's channel. So it builds a network. It lets the one that's been rated gain followers, like gain people in the chat, because there is an
All right.
achievement that requires a certain number of people to be active in the chat at the same time.
You know what I'm gonna do now? Because this has happened, we've been rated image just for the fun of it. And the subtitle will be bad.
Banned on matches. I gotta put an army helmet on a Navara then. That's gonna be fun.
Well, you have the tools. You have the technology.
And most importantly, we had the donut.
Yes, we have donuts. Join the for random talk. We have Donut Tuesdays.
Oh, I wish Spud Nuts would be so good right now.
No, that'd be funny. It's like we have a special event planned for every day of the week. We have Donut Tuesdays and No Pants Friday.
That's me literally every day though. I'm always sitting here with my pants down.
No, it's not even like, it's not pajama pants. Whatsoever.
You cut out what?
No, I said, but it's not like pajama pants or anything. It literally no pants. If you don't want to wear anything.
Ah, okay.
It's gonna be so awkward. Everyone's just pantsless now. No, sorry. What's the expression?
It's only awkward if you make it awkward. God damn.
Exactly. It's brilliant. Yes.
All I can focus on right now is that spider trying to get out right now. It's weird.
Let the poor thing out.
I've been like squirming this whole time.
Just get up or do something then.
I'm the one hosting this.
No, just mute yourself for like 5 seconds. I'll keep the chat entertained, and you
fine. We're on to our last topic.
Okay, then brilliant. Thank you. So yes, our last topic for the night, and that is how horror games have changed since the early days. And by early 2000s, like when Let's Players were being the big thing, you know, as in like, oh, Markiplier, PewDiePie, etc., etc., etc. Those days, I should say.
Yeah.
And how has it changed? Has it been for the better or for the worse? In my opinion, horror games have changed in a very interesting way. By that I mean, there's been a shift from making the player completely helpless to making the player able to fight back, but not as effectively as possible. And you know, and that's the thing. I actually don't mind that. Go ahead.
I think for me, the big problem is the graphics.
Okay.
I'm one of those kids. I grew up with Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 and Alone in the Dark being absolutely terrifying. Also, like the original Silent Hills, they were terrifying, but they were low quality.
Of course.
But because they were low quality, like the details that they had were so insane. Like they packed so much detail into pixels. It just made you even more disturbed.
True. It was how do I put it? Oh god, it's in the back of my head and I cannot think. It was your imagination. It was your imagination running wild, and you're like, you know, filled in. Go ahead.
With I gotta minimize this thing. It's distracting me. I'm looking for the pumpkin models I use in the Halloween background.
Oh no, there's dicks everywhere. I need to make them.
No, I found a really weird SCP sound swap model. Anyway,
it's fine.
With Alone in the Dark and Resident Evil, the big terror was you never knew what was going to happen. Like, whatever you were fighting or whatever was attacking you off screen, you didn't know what it was, but it screeched. It didn't, like...
Yeah, because of
like, the sound effects were also really terrible, so the noises they made were even more terrifying because they were screaming.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's also like you said, you couldn't see it, and that was because the camera angle.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible to see anything.
Yeah,
And
but like,
I think that worked really.
It works so well because I I could not stand those games, and even though my mom got really mad at my dad for letting me watch, even after telling me and my dad to not do that, I still watched. Because I wanted to see him finish the game. And this is why Mr. X, the original, scared me so bad.
Well, this is the thing. When I was growing up, my mother was very much. Well, here's the thing I've discovered. My mother hates video games. She sucked at. And not because she doesn't have the skills. It's because she grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s when games were ball-bustingly hard because they were janky as fuck, right? And she believed that games would always be like that, and she didn't like that they were so violent or so evil and blah 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 blah. Very, very conservative individual, right?
Yeah.
So my games at home mostly consist of like play school, very cheesy, those kinds of fun, whatever they call it.
Educational.
Edutainment. That's it. Edutainment.
Yeah.
Type of games, right? It was my father who saved me because he kind of realized that this is not what my son should be doing. The world is not sunshine and kittens. So I think I was like 5, I think, or 6 or 5, basically. Where my father, my parents were divorced. My father lived in his own house, and my brother lived with him. And what would happen is that my father said whenever he would play games like Resident Evil or really violent games of that horror games of that nature, he said, if you guys can stand through with all this and not get scared or, not leave the room, then, you can play it or you can watch me play it. And we would all stand around, watch him horrified, but also entertained. And this is the thing. I was never scared by these monsters as much, or even as my brother was, but we had this sort of notion. And this is where the idea kind of crept in, I think, early on, where we saw these things and we wanted to fight them. We wanted to fight them. And it just kind of grew from there. We weren't scared kids. We were like, we want to fight these monsters. So we would leave, chase these things around. Our imaginations were so very, very vivid, basically. And, that's basically what it was. And a lot of the times in the horror game, I didn't understand the concept of these are resource management games, not games you destroy your enemy, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I would wind up running out of ammo. Or, again, I never understood the differences between games. I always kind of played them and had fun. And, that basically broke the spell. Mom was like, okay, fuck. He's never going to play these games again. And so in the end, it basically just became, she changed it out. She returned those games as I grew older. She started getting the more modern games, and here I am today, completely sane individual.
The difference with me, when we first moved to the house, I was like 5 or 6 years old, so I was really tiny. And we had the NES, we had the PlayStation 1, we had the Sega Genesis, all down here in the basement I'm sitting in, but in the opposite room. And for those of you who don't know anything about me, I suffer from hallucinations sometimes. Visual, audible, sometimes physical. And it was really, really bad when I was younger and we had just moved into this house. Like, when we moved to the really tiny house in a neighboring town, I suffered from no nightmares. I suffered from nothing. I was fine. We moved here, the nightmares were constant, and the hallucinations were really bad. And at one point, my brother, tried to spare my parents from, me crying for help by coming into my room and trying to pull my body pillow over so I could rest. But because I was still going through a hallucination, the shoes that were on the floor were those giant beetle things from the Dark Crystal. And the body pillow rolled to reveal a giant cockroach. I was seeing giant bugs the entire time. So, Resident Evil 1 and 2 comes out. My dad decides he wants to play these on the PlayStation 1 down here. And me being me, I'm always having nightmares, always getting up late at night and waking up my parents. My mom gives us strict instructions. Your little sister is not allowed to watch these because she will get scared. I come downstairs during Christmas. My mom is either fast asleep or she's at work. I come downstairs. Right. My dad is playing this game. And he notices that I'm standing there. And he looks at me. He goes, "You scared?" And I'm watching him, like, shoot a zombie. I just shake him like, "Mm-mm." And I have, like, a plush in my arm. He goes, "Okay, tell me when you're scared." He goes through, like, a majority of Raccoon City with all those zombies after him. It's, like, really creepy and scary. And then he looks at me. I'm sitting on the couch next to him with, like, a bowl of cereal and hot cocoa. He goes, "You scared?" I shake my head. "Okay." And then, like, we hear my mom come home, and he looks at me and goes, "Don't tell your mom." I go, "Okay." She found out anyway, because my brother would talk about it.
Yeah, obviously.
But like,
but that's good.
My dad is also, like, very good at rigging, like, jerry-rigging certain systems. Like, our sound system in this house is all his engineering genius jerry-rigging this thing. So when he watches, like, a very loud movie, like something Michael Bay related, the entire house will vibrate.
Jesus.
So he decides he wants to play Alone in the Dark. And this is another thing that I noticed when it comes to, like, scary games. You don't know anything about this game. Like, any game facts didn't necessarily exist. If you wanted a walk through this game, you had to find a text, like a long text of what to do, and print that out and read it. Exactly. That's how you got through a game. So, me sitting on the couch, I'm a little bit older by now. My dad has his computer off to the right, and the giant TV in front of us jerry-rigged to his computer so we can see what he's doing on this TV. And I'm watching this, and surprisingly, this is the game that kind of broke me. Not Resident Evil 1 or 2, but Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark.
Because the zombies were tall beanpoles. And you couldn't see them very well, but you could, like, when they came through the dim light, they were, like, fleshy, they had nails stuck into them, they were very tall, you couldn't, like, if you shot them to death, they would immediately stand right back up, but they folded like an accordion. Exactly. It was creepy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, and this is what I've kind of said about since the horror games don't need to depend on graphics to be scary. And one of the main lessons I always said, especially about horror movies or games, if you're gonna have a monster, don't show it in the first second of the movie.
Don't ever show it,
because that ruins it. If you want to show the monster, do it at the very end when the fear factor is at its highest point.
Like, this is why Outlast did so well, because you're watching it through a camcorder. You're watching it through your own eyes. You can't do anything but run.
Exactly.
And, like, the big bad is a wisp of smoke that you can't see unless you lift your camcorder, and he's fast. Plus, there's a giant dude that you know will rip you apart.
Literally.
Yeah. Time Splitters 2 was another one that scared me, but it was only for, like, one area.
Well, exactly. Time Splitters has this very love-hate relationship with half the time, and it never, in a funny way, it never really commits to horror. It's very strange.
Old graphics, when they would try to make CGI realistic characters, it just came out terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. But if you put that in a horror genre, it makes them horrific and terrifying.
Yes. And,
so,
like, go ahead.
It works. Like, horror games are not as terrifying as they were back then because their graphics are so good, your imagination has nothing to run with.
Exactly. But there's a bit more to that I want to say, and that is specifically the oh god, the aspect of um horror in general, and that is um since Amnesia was successful in its horror, a lot of games have done the thing of you will always be helpless and unable to fight back. And to me, this drives me up a wall, specifically because when a person is in this kind of situation, you have the fighter's flight response. This is a very natural part of the human psyche, naturally.
Yeah.
And so what winds up happening a lot is some people will run in terror, naturally, while others will find the nearest thing and say, I'm going to bash this fucker's head in.
And
And
then
that's
you
basically,
have those rare few people who will be locked in place, but they will shrink down as small as they can.
yes. But that's where the sort of issues play into it, and that is a lot of times with like Amnesia and many of these games, you kind of find yourself more in the thought of let's just fight these things, and for good reason. And that's what's kind of irking me about horror movie or horror games. They used to allow you to fight back, but it wasn't always encouraged to fight back. Survival. Hence the okay. Whoever is leaving um, has to leave now, I guess. But that's the thing about survival horror. It was purely you're surviving. You're not fighting back to destroy anything. It's just I need to leave for the sake of survival.
This is also why
Not
Five Nights at Freddy's did so damn well.
exactly because you had a way to. You were helpless. That's true. But you had a way to stop the monsters from getting at you, and you had a way to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, you can't
And
move. Like that was another thing. You are locked in place. You cannot move, and those things know where you are, and they're doing whatever they can to get at you, which is terrifying.
yes,
And
but
like we all
yeah, go
know that
on.
like when it comes to robots, there's not really much you can do. They're pretty powerful things.
Unless you happen to have a sledgehammer, in which case just go to town.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Just oh look at that! I have Shotgun's hammer. Time to destroy. Or when you're not afraid. Sorry. With the sledgehammer bit, it's like you grab it, you start walking out, and then you yell, I have the power of God." Have you ever seen that
Yeah,
before?
I know that
That
like Lycan and Kuzi will scream, will joke about that before we start playing D&D.
well, there's a. Have you ever seen the origin of?
Nope.
It's basically it was a guy on I think it was a lawnmower or a Ford track or something, driving towards the police with a not Magnum, with a Raging Bull revolver, laughing and pointing it at them, saying, "I have the power of God." It was it was horrible. It's funny because you don't scripted or not. He's just going towards the cops with this lawnmower, and I can poke a hole through a human being's body, gun, and the cops are just getting out of their car. So you kind of think, oh God, he's serious. He's gonna hurt these people.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I said, but that's kind of the thing where I think horror has the point. It stopped being about horror and getting through it, and became more about you're in this you're in this setting and you're gonna die and then that's the thing. And this is the problem with like when people who make horror games try to franchise out or try to make a sequel, and it leads into what I call the steps of horror, basically, or the steps of horror. If I've ever talked about this before, actually, I don't think I have. But it goes like this, where basically the first game is You don't understand what's happening. You're terrified of everything, and you're trying to escape, but you have a good time. The second game, if it's in the same series, is you know what the monster is, you know what it's capable of doing. You're still terrified by it, but you're not like uber terrified. By the third outing, you want to kill it. You know what it is, you know what it can do. You're no longer scared. You're just going to murder it.
Yeah.
It's the aliens thing. You know, Alien 1, you don't know what it is and you're scared, but it can die. Aliens 2, they're still scary, but you can kill it. By Alien 3 and Resurrection, it's like, oh, it's an alien.
Oh,
Okay.
how scary.
Exactly, that's what it is. In order to make a sequel and franchise out correctly, in my opinion, you need to give the player the option to fight and defend themselves. Because that way they're able to engage the enemy or engage the monster, but still be scared, but be able to stop it or slow it down. And that's why Alien Isolation did so well, because it gave you those options to fight back. But it also still showed that, hey, you're still a vulnerable, squishy human. You can still die. Be careful. And that's why a lot of people enjoyed it, myself included.
Yeah.
But instead, you've got, like I said, you've got shit that kind of ruin it, and for good reason. And specifically, like I said, it's, and that's the problem with horror. I think people are too focused with going after Amnesia and what made Amnesia good. Oh, you're a helpless human being who can't fight back. And, instead of doing Resident Evil stuff. And it's just like how Resident Evil stopped being about survival horror, because it took my my horror steps, basically, and took it to the extreme, as in, like, well, you know what I mean. It stopped being about, like, oh, bioterrorism is horrifying and evil, to, oh, it's a bio monster. How do we kill it?
Yeah. Like, it completely stopped being scary after, like, very quickly. It just became more
Yes,
horrific.
exactly. And that's not to say, like, something like this can't be horror. Resident Evil 7 kind of proves, you know, but at the same time, it still follows the principles set up by survival horror. It still set up the principles of you're able to fight back, but you're not capable of fighting.
Yeah.
Or at least fully fighting. That's what made it work really well, at least in my opinion. And like I said, it's what brings a lot of these games down, is that they rarely, if ever, put the effort in. They're just, oh, cheap scare, instead of atmospheric and building up dread.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of sad about it all.
That's why this is also why, like, the first Bendy did pretty well. But, like, by the time the Bendy series ended, it was just like, okay. Spooky. Creepy, but spooky.
Exactly. It's like they again, another example is what made Bendy the monster scary. And that is, it's this thing that just cannot be stopped. It's stalking the halls and you don't know when to hear. I mean, it's a good concept,
A
and
lot of horror games, like, drop horror and just go for creepy.
exactly. And that's why it fails. Even Outlast 2, that's why it fails. Because you know what Outlast 2 is. It's this little cult in the mountains.
Yeah.
And that's why it failed. It stopped being this atmosphere. Oh, it's an asylum and people are dying. Like, literally, you take a step, you'll see some guy who's been flayed alive, and that kind of thing. It stopped being about that, and it became, how far can we push the gross factor, or how far can we push the, oh my god, look, they're murdering people. Look at that, But that's what killed it. That's what destroyed Outlast and the franchise as
And
a whole.
why
People just
the groom became the most horrifying quote-unquote monster in the Outlast community.
Uh-huh.
Just because, like, you sit there and you're forced to watch what he does.
Exactly. But, like I said, these are the problems modern horror tends to do. They drop the horror aspect, they do the creepy aspect more so. Typically
Or they
not...
do the shock horror, like jump scare.
Exactly. But they tend to do the cheap kind of creepy, like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like, let's make something that's plausible in the real world, but at a hanging skeleton. It stops being creepy and it just kind of becomes annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I see where the telltale signs of cheap horror are. Can we please stop this? That's what it became, basically. And why I'm just kind of ambivalent to horror. At least at this point, anyways.
I still don't like horror, so I don't really
But,
care.
well, here's the thing. I think horror has improved over the years. It's become more, I don't want to say acceptable. It's become better. And while people will say that graphics don't matter, sometimes they do. Sometimes they prove to be an effective tool, especially with like the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
What annoys me is that I've said this before. They ruined Mystery flat out because
What makes a good horror game is good sound, atmosphere, and just design, really.
Yeah, but what ruined Mr. X at its core was just they overly detailed him to the point where you're missing the point. Like if you read the Umbrella File, that series of Tyrant, for example,
Mm-hmm.
it said that it's designed to blend in with humans. It's meant to be among people. But the point of that is because the head, the body is covered in this trench coat, obviously, and the head has a very human appearance. It looks like a normal person. If you don't look too hard at it, it's like, oh, okay, you blink and you miss it. This Mr. X is clearly not human, even when it loses its hat. Its hat is the only feature that makes it look, human. It's just they try to make it too monstrous, and it fails at what it is. Same with William Birkins. They miss the point of what G is supposed to be. It's not this... The G virus is a steroid. It causes the muscles to grow and mutate and be stronger, but it doesn't grow so much that it rips the skin or breaks the bones. The bones merge with it. G is supposed to look plausible as a living creature. Instead, they made G this mess of bones and muscle, and it pisses me off.
They try to take something from like the current games and throw it into the original, which is not what it's supposed to be.
Exactly, that's what drove me insane. It's like, I see Resident Evil 7 all over this place. You had an opportunity and you wasted it.
I saw 6.
Okay, 6.
No, it's because, like, the giant T-Rex thing. Like, that guy kept turning into things that were made of meat and bone.
Exactly. Yeah, I see it too, and it ruined what I enjoyed too. That's why I'm like, if you want a true Resident Evil 2 remake, go to the Wii Umbrella Chronicles or the Dark Side Chronicles. That does a better job.
Yeah.
It really does. And it doesn't turn Leon into a complete whip. But like I said, horror's changed. Some for the better, some for the good. People say graphics don't matter. I agree in some instances.
Oh, that reminds me. Before G4, the channel got replaced by yet another Christian Bible worshipping bullshit channel.
Of course.
There was a countdown.
Really?
Yeah, there were like countdowns for like different genres of video games, because it was a channel all about video games. It was the E3 of TV. Like, gaming convention on TV. It was amazing. I loved it. One of the countdowns was best game in the world, and the winner was, unsurprisingly, Super Mario Brothers. But then it did like a countdown of the most disturbing games, and the number 1 was BioShock.
And for good reason.
Yeah. But, like, do note, that was quite a while ago, so by now, Bioshock has actually been outdone. But
By
it's
someone
still,
else.
but it still holds its charm.
Yes. Especially with, like, certain things, certain theme. And it works really well. Again, people...
Even though it's not
Go ahead.
Bioshock 1, I have seen the model of that giant dude in the tank for Bioshock 2.
Yes. But that's the thing about Bioshock is people forget that Bioshock is it's a horror game. It really is. It's just the horror is,
The
and it's
horror
very easy
is
to...
is like what a human's mind can come up with when things go to hell.
Yes, in fact, when I played it, I found myself spooked quite often, and that's because I underestimated the splicers, and I underestimated where and when they could appear. And that's what kept me on my toes. Even when I was strong enough to take on multiple of them, I was like, okay, I need to keep it. Oh shit, I didn't check that corner, or I didn't cover
The
that vent.
spider splicers are terrifying.
Yes, and for good reason. And
Even in the second game, they were creepy.
Yeah, but it's still excuse me. And that is, when it comes to horror in games or anything, the horror needs to be organic in a lot of ways, or to the setting. And like I said, with a lot of games these days, with a lot of quote unquote horror games, they drop what made horror horror, and it winds up becoming this mishmash or this um, very droll sort of slog through environments, or oh, look at that whole funhouse carnival ride that nobody wants to be a part of, but everyone needs to, and that's what kind of ruins it for people, myself included.
Oh, okay. Somebody posted a video on the Day of Dragons, and the title says Pookie Sacrifice, and there's a lot of dragons in the video.
Jesus.
But
Yeah.
the most terrifying game for me was an arcade game called Carnival.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
I hate that game. I mean, I've played House of the Dead. That did not scare me. I've played Terminator game. The Alien game was only recent. Area 51 was my favorite. I've even played the AVP arcade game.
Excuse me.
Any game that had zombies or something in it from the arcade did not scare me, but Carnival did.
Okay. Well, funny you mentioned House of the Dead. A new one, I think we've covered this one before, came out a while ago. And the funny thing is, that feels more like a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
And that's saying something, because... okay, let me put it to this, right? The zombies they look great. They really do. They're very dead. And for the limited resources, it's, for an arcade machine, it's not that bad. It's really not. Everyone, they look like they're a slightly lower poly version. Slightly... sorry. A slightly lower of... Oh my... give me... I'm sorry if you can hear all that.
No.
Give me 1 second.
I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, I don't like clowns. I really don't like clowns. I don't like taking things that you associate as being innocent and turning them evil and twisted.
Sorry about that, I'm back.
Hi.
Wow. Left.
Is that Gandhi in the middle?
I have no idea. Maybe. He's shooting nukes at us again. I'm sorry, that still cracks me up. Gandhi shoots nukes.
Apparently, the most popular and the most impacting horror games or even movies is when they take something that is associated with being completely innocent, like the the biggest offender being snowmen or your favorite teddy bear, and turning them into something completely horrific, twisted, and evil. Okay then. Is he still on the call? Yeah, he's still on the call. I think his audio crashed. Rev, are you still there? I'm gonna message him. Just question marks. Ah!
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi.
And decide, you know what? Everything's going to get reset to 0.
No.
Yeah. But, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing I want to mention is that, with this House of the Dead Crimson Dawn, for example, this game is more Resident Evil than the modern Resident Evil. And it's so weird because there's bits of comedy sprinkled in. Like some of the enemies are dressed ridiculously. You'll see one or two of them out there, but the entire thing feels like it's natural. And the horror is still there because these zombies will swarm in strange and unusual ways. Like, they'll build ladders out of themselves, or they'll bring down helicopters. It's like really creepy, and you get overwhelmed so easily in this game that the horror is a factor again. Something you wouldn't get from, an arcade game. And I loved it. But of course, no one's ever going to talk about that one because.
Then again, the Alien arcade game had you overwhelmed.
Yeah, but with these monsters, again, it's very interesting. Like some of the bosses are Resident Evil inspired. Like one of them is this octopus thing called the Priestess, and it looks like something Birkin would create or transform into. Completely.
What the fuck?
Exactly. And yet you encounter this in the sewers, and it's like, it's not even a zombie. It's just an animal that's been mutated to the point of just, monstrous.
Yeah.
And then you've got another one, which is like a boss from the previous games called the Chariot, and this thing is actually more terrifying than Mr. X. Because
I can only imagine.
Well, I'll just show you. And the design is simplistic to no end.
Yeah, but having that just walk towards you in a dark hallway is.
Exactly. And here's the worst thing: that all that plating is bulletproof.
Yeah.
So there's no stopping this thing. It's like, oh, this is what the Tyrant should have been from day one, and instead we've neutered it through repetition.
Yeah.
But like I said, this game retains its horror, and it's shocking to see from an arcade game, especially with like some of the more ridiculous or outlandish monsters that the game will create. Again, it kind of comes back to what I've always said, and that is sometimes horror can be achieved in the most unlikeliest of places. It's just a matter of really trying to make it work, and in a good way. I guess what I'm trying to say, like to kind of wrap up my thoughts, is horror has had a rocky road. I'm not saying it's dying now. It did die a few years ago, but it's coming back, And people, to this day, are finding new and more innovative ways to introduce horror. People have disturbing creative minds, and they bring those monsters to the table, and it's great. It always is.
Yeah.
It's just difficult to put it to pen to paper or to game, really. But again, I have hope. I have hope horror can. Horror's made a comeback with a lot of games as of late, and here's hoping it will continue.
When it comes to movies, it's screwed.
Now, horror in movies is dead unless it's
Oh
like
yeah.
some small studio, and even then they'll introduce some bullshit to the game to the movie that ruins it. Like
Yeah.
they destroy the horror because they put in some subversive message or some hidden
What a
meaning, and
twist!
exactly, and it's like you stupid. This is
speaking
again.
of
This is
speaking of that,
yes.
my favorite horror movies, because I've actually been getting this question a few times lately. Um,
All right.
Obviously the Tremors movies. I love those. Aliens is in the second movie, and Signs. I actually really like Signs, which is kind of
Okay.
why like that inspired that Halloween one shot I mentioned.
Of course. Of course.
But yeah, horror movies is already dead. Horror games is still going strong. Just
But,
you gotta have the right formula for it.
yeah, and again, thanks to the indie scene, it's very easy to find it. You just
Mm.
need to look and really research the people before you go digging. Like
Have you
if.
seen
Hmm?
there's a new horror game that just came out that Markiplier is playing called Mr. Hop's Playhouse, I think it's called.
Mr. Hop's play what?
So
Oh, Playhouse. Sorry.
yeah, I think that's the right word. Literally the day before Markiplier uploaded that video, Bill sent that game to me saying, "Hey, you want to try this out?" It's a game where your beloved toy comes to life and it's angry at you for some reason. And you're playing the role of a child. That is another horror game genre that like is not done very much, but when it is done, it leaves an impact where you're playing the role of a child.
Yes.
Among the
I
Sleep was
wish.
such a good game.
Yeah, but again, this is where the whole thing kind of comes to its core, really, and that is basically. Well, like I said, to go back and use the movie setting for a second, this is why I watch like Japanese or um, Eastern horror,
Yeah.
because half the time they nail the atmosphere, or the monsters' designs are really on point, or it's just truly disturbing.
Like, keep in mind, people, Japan has like the weirdest demons ever. Like the weirdest designs for folklore.
Yes.
If they make horror movies, it's gonna be weird, but in like the best way possible.
And another thing I adore is that they still use practical effects. And a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times it really adds to the horror to the point where I'm like, okay, no, I need to back up, no, 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 no,
Yep,
no,
yep,
no,
yep.
that kind of thing. It's that kind of reaction, but at the same time, it's like, and now I must destroy,
But
with the sledgehammer.
I praise Japan's CGI work to heaven and earth because
Hmm.
it takes you forever to realize that what you were seeing was CGI.
Yes, they have a really good way of
Yeah.
merging the two. What CGI was meant to.
They do so much better than the United States.
Yeah, what CGI is meant to be. It's meant to heighten what you're
Yeah.
making, not substitute.
The
And
only that said, the only praise I will give Shin Godzilla is it took until I have already seen the movie and I found a behind the scenes video of the suit that I realized that everything I was seeing in that movie was CGI.
yes, that's impressive.
That took a long ass time. The only parts of Godzilla that was CGI was the face, the feet, and the tail. That
Nice.
was it.
But here's something about as well Eastern horror that I enjoy, and that is there really is no escaping from the evil.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually it'll get you, but at the same time, it kind of led me to the thought of, but what if you have a strong will in life? What would happen then? And that's kind of something I want to explore with like horror, and that is, what if the victim who eventually dies put up one hell of a fight and becomes something much worse? Like flat out, the whatever killed them realizes, oh, I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake, that kind of realization. Actually, something like that did happen in, I think it was a Versus movie. It was like The Grudge versus The Ring, if I remember correctly. And something like that happened. Like, it was two supernatural Japanese curses merging into, fighting each other, and it just merges into something much worse. Like, it was, yeah, it was The Grudge versus The Ring. And let me see. Yeah, basically the two grudge kids fight against the well demon, and in the end they create something that's 10 times worse than the two, like an actual fleshy demon of some sort, like pure malice. And again, that's something about the Japanese horror and monsters that people um, need to understand sometimes, and that is, the curses will take on a life of their own. And when that happens, sometimes it becomes something so much worse than you could possibly imagine.
In a way, the horror film that I despise, but I still have burned in my brain, Jennifer's Body.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great example of like the evil is destroyed, but it's absorbed into somebody else.
Exactly.
No, John Carpenter's Demon Hunter doesn't count because they actually completely destroyed that one. I don't know the name of the movie. I just remember that the movie is about this small town that just suddenly dies. And when you go in there, like, if your imagination is really strong, then this imagination comes to life and it'll immediately kill you. It's like Resident Evil, but supernatural. And what's causing it is this entity that believes itself so powerful that it could kill the gods. And it can
Right.
take on any form. But in the end, they technically kill the thing, and then you see in a bar a person that was all that had like only 5 minutes ago had a weird tentacle mouth coming out of his lower torso and his legs breaking into pieces to turn into a spider. He's sitting at the bar and he looks at the people and goes, "Yeah, I want to show you guys something," and then ends. Like, it never really died.
Yeah, well, that's something that kind of goes back to the idea that dreams are sentient things and they need someone to keep it alive. It's a theory. It's kind of a horror and theorem basic idea. It's something I kind of enjoy. The idea of a parasitic creature that needs others to create it. Again, it's like the what's it called? It's like a song I heard, like Alice's Sacrifice. That was it. Very interesting.
Mm.
But anyway, like I said, it's, to me, like I've said before, if I was to face something like this, like a horrifying otherworldly monster, and I fight this thing, and even if it kills me, I get the feeling I'd still come back. Like I would become some sort of curse myself, because that is the type of will I have. Just, I'm not done yet, fucker.
If we go back to like Man of Medan or Medan, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
the name was.
man of Medan.
Yeah. When that game came out, we talked about the movie Ghost Ship because that's what it's literally a 1-to-1, but like a little
Yes.
bit more supernatural. At the end of Ghost Ship, the guy is still there. Like, death is still around, and he's going to do it again. Like, you can even see the previous crew that was butchered by him loading his trinket onto a cruise ship. The cycle never ends for him.
Yeah, because there are just some things in this world that have to exist, and that's something there are some things in this world that need to happen and need to exist, as cruel and as unfortunate as they are. However, at the same time, like I've said, for someone like me, it doesn't mean I'm just gonna lay down and die. I've never been raised to accept that. It's always been, there's this thing that's ripped people apart and it's horrifying and da 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 da, right? And immediately, like I've said 100 times, is give me something to fight it with, I'll deal with it. And if I don't come back, then you know, it's
For
like, just
you,
give me
rest in
that.
peace does not exist.
Exactly.
It's rest then shotgun.
Exactly. No, it's more like, here's the plan. I'm gonna fight this thing. I'm gonna start breaking bones and etc. etc. When you stop hearing that and you start hearing loud footsteps, you run because that means
Yeah.
I'm dead. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
Or
like
again, this is what would make me a great dreadnought in Warhammer. Their whole thing is not even in death. In death I still serve.
yeah. I'll have to ask you about like a Warhammer game later.
All right.
Just not right now, because like we've been going for like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's so we've covered everything about horror and our points. We'll probably cover more horror because we're still in Spooktober and we still have
Ooh.
one. Oh, hold on. How many weeks do we have left of the spooks? It's like 3. Hold on, my calendar is slow to load. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got 3 weeks of spooks. So yeah.
Yeah, Halloween is the 31st.
Yeah, so we got 3 more. So with that said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this week's episode of Left for Random Talk. As per usual, stick around for the end for HH's usual end of stream spiel. This is Berev, and I will see you all next time. Take care.
So, it's now me and you guys. I did say last time that I was going to stream Scribblenauts until I had a proper answer for streaming Portal 2 co-op. I don't have anybody to play Portal 2 co-op on Saturdays right now. And the past 2 weeks or so, I've just not been feeling up to snuff. Hopefully, and don't hold your breath on this, hopefully I will have Scribblenauts starting this Saturday. I am kind of planning to do a Halloween one-shot. So if people that I like, only people that I know, keep that in mind, people that I know. So people from my Discord group. If people are interested in joining in that, you just need to let me know. I'll talk with you about it. Anyway, the usual spiel. Down below in the description on YouTube and down below on Twitch, there is a link and a creeper face that say that you are supporting the stream by clicking here, to donate. Don't click on them. They don't work. I am trying very hard to get that going. It's just not been very easy. We're going to go raid Crowick TV. Right now he's playing Destiny 2. I've seen him a few times. He plays a whole bunch of different other games. I know that Chaos and Dark raid him sometimes. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys either this Saturday or next Thursday. Have a happy Halloween. Have a good night, everybody.